Hello?
When you're holding it out, talk now. No?
Oh. Well, the other day it was picking up. pretty good.
Yeah, it was picking up the other day.
You can hear it.
It picks up fine online.
Online, it's fine. You can't hear it on the speakers in here. That was very. I don't know if anyone knows, I'm sure.
Okay, I've got the live stream going, so mute your mics.
I'm sure anybody listening.
Try.
If you-
Hear it on the speakers.
Hey, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
If you start talking, let me turn the volume up and see if it matters.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something kind of atrocious. Hello, 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 hello.
Cranking it up.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello, hello.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's better. And I was,
Just 1, 2.
hello, 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 yep. I forgot we could turn up the mic.
Well, that's at 100% now.
Okay,
So if it gets too loud,
I'll just come over and turn that one down.
yeah.
Okay.
You already, oh, you're already live.
Yeah, I was.
I thought,
You were.
if I asked him if he's coming.
Who's that?
I was gonna check and see if he's coming.
Yeah.
Oh. So who's all's on for the Saturday?
Commissioners, park, prosecutor, and community corrections.
So no one's gonna zoom in.
I don't know if the prosecutor, hey Debbie,
I haven't heard from him. I mean, Tom set it up, but it's on that.
I haven't texted him, he was supposed to fly back this morning, the plan was that he would be here. Is the prosecutor coming here this clear?
Coming in busy.
Okay, so no, I don't think anybody's zooming in. If for some reason Tom is delayed, I'll send him a text, but he said he planned on it.
This is at 100% now.
Yeah, we can hear it better.
Okay.
Couldn't hear it.
I was like at about 80, so I don't know. If it starts to squeal or something, you'll just have to.
Online's great.
This one.
Actually, when the text Tom.
I'm on it.
He's old.
He's part of it.
Yeah.
We are doing great.
And there's.
I'm gonna vote. We just put everything with zeros, so.
Right, but you'll be happy. You don't take your action. Yeah.
Keep going. If I get a chance, you're right. I'm trying.
Everything.
And I bet I got some.
Nothing like that.
Well, if you can't till one night, I'll show.
Steve just left, you guys can go ahead and start.
Hello?
We heard that.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, just go down the papers that you have in front of you, line by line.
Speaking to the microphone, I can't hear you.
He said you just go through your budget line by line. Should we just zero everything out? Is that the plan or?
He's
Negative.
tongue in cheek now.
Are we done? Okay, so, I mean, we can hold off for a couple of minutes. Do we,
He's just coming from Church Street.
okay, we could always hold off for a couple of minutes, so.
Are there any items in the budget that you want to talk about or concerned about?
Not at this time.
Thank you, Joe.
It looks like you put the same 3% in for raises as most every other department did. So as prescribed by Debbie, I think, as a placeholder. Our understanding is, Joe, that Susan worked with Jeff on technology, computer, and Debbie on a plan for replacement, like ongoing, a plan for ongoing yearly replacement.
That's my understanding.
Did Debbie, Susan said she wouldn't be able to make it here until about 1:30, right?
Right.
Okay,
Steve is just leaving from Church Street, so it don't take him long to get here.
It took
Tom should be here by 2:00.
Took me 10 minutes to get here from church while you were there too. Bobby was there. I was there. I thought Steve was leaving right behind me. Apparently he got talking.
no.
No.
No, it's,
No, Steve is-
all right.
Okay, so can we stop right here? So on the commissioners, who are on their budget, am I adding the 240, 101? From Angela's group health insurance to the commissioners? And then 60,000 in, whatever it was in. 60.
Oh, the park was 60,000, yeah. I think it was, so it was 300 total, might as well say.
Is that what we're going to add? That's, since we're right here, is that what we're gonna add?
That would be the, and then the liability insurance and the workman's comp. I think those were both 6 each in the health, and I've got to look at the park.
Did all that include the 240 and what? 640?
40 and 60, that's the two health from the park and the. So what we're trying to do, Joe, is make it a little more streamlined, and because right now we give the park and the health department money and they just turn around and give it back to us. And which kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense out of our right pocket back into our left pocket, and just doesn't. So we talked about bringing any of those departments that basically get funded out of the general fund back into the general fund and just not give them the money in the first place. So we're not playing a shell game there,
Makes sense.
Yeah. So the parks, work comp is 10,000. So did you hear that, Steve? I don't think you might have came in midstream, but so what we're talking about doing is, right now, we take money and appropriate monies in the levies to the park and the health department, and then they turn around and pay it right back to us, which kind of seems silly when it comes to the health insurance and the liability insurance and work comp insurance. So we're just streamlining it and going to add that all into the commissioner's budget for any of those departments that get paid out of the general fund. So we're going to take the 240 from the health department, put it into the health fund into the commissioner's budget. We're going to take the 60 from the park, do the same. Do the same with the 6,000 in liability from the health and the 10,000 and 6,000 in work comp from the two, and just put it into your budget and lower their levy instead of just shifting money from one place to another back and then back.
Well, your levy, don't you raise, can you raise somebody else's?
Well, we raise yours. We raise the general fund. So it just it retains more of it in the general fund, and they get less in their levy. We get a larger levy. The general fund gets a larger levy, their levy shrinks. Is the way it netted out. So it was a net sum zero on the insurance wise. We did add a couple positions into the health department. We let her keep a couple positions that she had previously terminated. because she made a good argument she needs them to continue to operate, and she's cut hundreds of nearly $1 million. So we did add a couple positions back into the health department budget, so that's going to shift the levy. But so far, to give you a heads up, we're in a pretty good spot. We're, as the budget stands right now with no raises, about $1.5 million under expected revenue. And that's with Baker Tilly's very conservative numbers.
We're done, you know.
So we're in a pretty good spot. So, you know, so, and I mentioned, and I told you about this, that one of the thoughts I had, I've kind of tweaked it a little bit, was to give a shot in the arm to the highway department of about $500,000 to help with bridges. I think Shannon and I talked and Debbie agreed the easiest way to do that is just zero out their health insurance line item and just leave it off, because I think the health insurance budget, the health insurance fund is in a very rock solid place right now. And we're already budgeting almost $800,000 more than expected revenue. Yes, sir.
I tried to do that in 2006 and 2007 and 2008 to try to zero out. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Well, I mean, it's going to be like just a shot in the arm. It's not, I told Braden and Joe, it's not like I don't think we can continue to do it, but it's enough. I mean, obviously, Joe, you have a better understanding than any of us in the room.
I'm just saying,
I-
it's a wonderful idea.
I threw it out. Yeah, I threw it out on Monday as an off the wall idea to try to come up with a way to give the bridges a shot in the arm, because they desperately are needed. We all know that. And, I think we'll probably end up doing that. We haven't decided completely, but I think there was a pretty good consensus that it'd be, since we're in such a rock solid position. I mean, I'm the first one to be worried about that account, because I walked into this job in 2019, $750,000 in the hole. And right now we're well over, we could be pushing $3 million by the end of this year to the black, which is nearly a full year's worth of expenses. So we've got a pretty good cushion built up. Only because,
If we happen to have a catastrophic,
again, it would take a extremely catastrophic, because we're still budgeting 3.6, 3.7. We would have to have the worst year this county's ever had times 2,
It'd be about
basically.
twice as bad as 2018 that put us in the red.
Yeah, so that's why,
nobody, like I said earlier, nobody plans on waking up
Uh,
saying I've got.
understood.
It
It would be catastrophic, as he said.
exactly. I mean, and that's why I also said we could only do it, it's a one-time shot. It's not, this wasn't an in perpetuity. It was just,
I'm never against giving more money to the highway department, so.
yeah, this is just like a shot in the arm to help them try to get the ship on target. And then I recommended to them in our meeting on Monday for them to come and sit down with the commissioners and talk about changing the Coon Bridge levy next year, because there's a totally different process to do that, and it requires starting with you folks. And it has to be done by May. I mean, it has to be approved by both bodies, but it starts with you all, and it has to, so I recommended that they come sit down with the commissioners to see if that's something. And to tell you the truth, I don't know how this shakes out in 28. I don't know how the levy gets affected by all this changes in 28, to be exactly, especially with this Coon Bridge, because it operates in a weird gray zone over here that nobody knows about. It's like the twilight zone over here. And so there's still a lot of question on how all that will shake out. But that was the one thing. We dropped I know this is kind of your budget, but not in your budget. Was it 150,000? Am I thinking correct on the secure beds?
150.
We took it back to 150 in the safety lit. Understanding, and Bobby expressed the concerns that may not be enough. So there may be the potential of additional appropriation or something that needs to be done there. But the safety lit was out of whack. And so we had to make some adjustments. We were able to move some of the jail maintenance from there over to the jail lit to help alleviate some of that, but it was way over budget. So that's kind of what we've done up to this point. I want to play catch up because I wanted to make sure you guys know, because those things, is there anything else I'm forgetting? Anybody that impacts the commissioners in some way that we've made some alterations to? Do you have any concerns, questions? I mean, I've just expressed a few, but of the ones I just talked about, before we jump into the rest of your budget, I mean, does that sound reasonable to you guys? I mean, I know Joe likes the idea. I mean, you're smiling, but still
Well,
nervous.
optimistically cautious, how's that?
That's, you know how I am, so I feel you. I'm in your same boat.
You threw a lot at him.
I did. That's why I wanted to give him a chance to absorb it a little bit.
You've got 20 minutes.
You good? All right, the rest of your budget, do you want to, we've been kind of doing it very informally with everybody. I mean, if you want to go down through line item by line item, we're happy to, but I kind of have just been saying, hey, department head, run with it. We'll jump in where we think we need to. So however you want to do this, Steve, I'll leave it to you. Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Deb's got you.
I could get this over quickly by saying I didn't have it, so.
Ah, good try. You know Debbie, you should know Debbie better than that.
So Social Security, perf, workman's comp will all be tweaked upwards with raises.
All that we'll have to mess with
Yeah.
if we do, whatever we decide to do raise wise. And the only question,
Oh, stop it, Stephen. Can't take you anywhere.
Inside joke.
uh,
If you start using your middle name, you know you're in trouble.
Um,
Trying to focus, that's all.
so sounds like we are we have a pretty good idea because I think Scott and them and others have worked with getting the insurance quotes. So we feel pretty confident we're good with where our insurance stands because I know that's been a concern in the past. So you're feeling pretty good about that. I know there was some discussion on the Humane Society. Do you have any,
Right asked, has anything been,
has anything been
city?
discussed there?
And that was one thing I was going to ask the mayor today, and I forgot to ask him while I was talking to him this morning. So we had a meeting on another related item, but I don't know where they landed on what they were gonna do, but I know we have concern on whether we can keep paying what we're paying. So I don't know how everybody else feels about that, whether we just do what we've been doing.
well, I guess if the city pulls out, that's the rumor I'm hearing. I don't know if it's true or not.
There's been some reconsideration, but I'm not sure.
Uh-huh. Right, because we can't find,
No.
so.
When do you think they'll know? I mean,
That was, that's my bad. I forgot to ask him what their thought was on that.
All right, well, we can go back to that one.
I got one on that you're probably intimately familiar with, Steve, is the buildings and liability. It went from 900 to 967.5, 7.5% increase. I'm not suggesting it's not needed, but if you have anything you can share with us about that one.
As far as the
Building liability first page.
insurance, I was.
No, he's just on the second.
Is that all insurance or is that
Well,
Which one?
3,000
That's insurance.
09? Okay.
That's insurance premium.
And thought it was gonna be more than that?
Yeah, the insurance
is
actually
that-
came back better than what I anticipated.
Is
to be
that
honest.
similar to that document that Josh Estel sent to us? You got it off of there? Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Percent or something, that's what I'm.
but
Okay.
you spent 573 already this year, so I don't know when that's billed.
It's
It's piecemeal. It's,
mailed through several different carriers, different carriers, different updates. Yeah, it's, there's multiple carriers and multiple
Yes.
renewal dates, so,
Yeah.
It's not an easy project.
yeah, so it's not a.
Not this one.
So earlier today, the surveyor's office was in here, talking about the new server setup with software and everything. I just want to ensure that we assumed that would be in what's the contractual services, contractual services line item of your budget. Is that included in that line item on your budget?
Computer equipment
It went to computer equipment maintenance, okay,
I have a question.
yeah.
You guys are talking about increasing CCD and these are the one-time deal.
You could take it out.
I would not be adverse to that.
Yeah.
It was just a thought that we had, that we did some.
So I threw out another idea this morning. I didn't throw them all at you earlier. So when Jason gave us our comp plan earlier today, right now our CCD is in a pretty solid footing. There's nearly $500,000 in reserve. We are under budget about $100,000. Now, I know Susan has worked with Debbie and Jeff to come up with a plan to replace computers. I don't know the details of that. I didn't know that. I just learned that this morning. I threw out the idea of moving that extra $100,000 into that computer line to help accommodate for that. Because I know when I was here the first time around, we purchased 300 of some laptops with the first round of the COVID money. And all of those laptops are now getting to be coming into that road where they're starting to see it's 4-year-old piece of technology is ancient. And so I want to take proactive steps and not just say, hey, we got to buy 400 computers and we need $500,000. I'd rather start doing things in stages. So I was throwing that idea out to do that. I would not be adverse from that, Debbie, if we were to decide to increase that budget and then use some of that. She said it was like $18,000 is the number I'm remembering. Is that correct?
I'm looking at it right now.
That's the.
Oh, it's-
That,
It was somewhere between 18 and 21. Yeah,
yeah,
Eight- yeah.
yeah, it was somewhere around, I'm remembering 18, but
We did. It was 40,000 plus 8,000 annual. 40,000 because that included them setting it up.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was like 20, 28 and 12, and then 8,000 a year thereafter, but the initial maintenance was the install. So, yeah, it was over 40,000.
okay. But the 8, that wasn't the maintenance still in their budget.
Yeah,
The maintenance is in
Still in their
maintenance, so it's
budget
just
for-
the install. I was remembering it much less than that, but
No, it was 40,
okay.
then 8,000 a year after year one.
For 21,240. For the license. Reading on the install 18,250.
That's where I was getting the 18.
Yeah.
The annual maintenance fee was 6,200 after the upgrade, which is $2,000. Software license. Okay. That is-
So it's around 40.
I found it.
So I wouldn't be adverse from if we decided to put that 100,000. Now you're saying we need to remove the 40 from here? Is that what you're saying, Debbie? So reduce the 40 here
Well, yeah, we could do that.
and then add the 100 in at CCD and knowing that there's only 60 left. I'm just trying to make sure I understand the thought.
Well, if you're gonna.
if we're wanting to get on, if we have 340 in computer equipment maintenance, I guess I don't understand the logic of, and we're wanting to get on a rotations to start replacing computers, why would we reduce that by 40? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering the same, if especially where we're at. I don't mind moving.
We could put it in CCD for now, to be over, now that we got $40,000 in this. Okay.
Yeah, but okay, well, that's what I was trying.
You just meant put 40,000 in the CCD fund, not reduce this, right? Not reduce this by 40. Okay, gotcha.
So if we ended up putting 100 in the CCD fund, then that would give 40 for this project and 60 for whatever else, plus the 200 and change that's already in there. That's already built in, plus the 340 here. Hopefully that would be able to get Jeff and them to start on some type of a program to to be a little more proactive because unfortunately this county has a tendency to be reactive and
But
back ourselves in corners.
wasn't that big computer purchase with CARES Act back in like,
Late 21,
20.
like 2020, 21.
so it wasn't COVID money, it was CARES.
Yeah, it was all the same, yeah,
It wasn't ARPA.
yeah. No, it
Okay.
wasn't ARPA. It was the first round of the.
It was
COVID
CARES.
money.
It was CARES.
Yeah, they called it, it was. It's the first, I called it the COVID money. It was the first round of the COVID money. Okay, so do we want to do that, guys and gals? I mean, I agree.
You need to repeat it.
So what the thought is to go ahead and budget that $100,000 that's under budgeted in the CCD fund and use $40,000 of that to fund the surveyor's upgrade to the server and then use the rest to start doing a proactive step in equipment replacement.
I don't understand the underfunded CCD.
So the CCD fund, if you look at the CCD fund,
It's the right
if you,
one.
yeah, if you look at the CCD fund, we have an estimated, the conservative estimate is over $700,000. The budgeted amount is only $600,000.
Gotcha.
So the budgeted amount is $100,000 under the conservative Baker Tilly estimate. So we have basically $100,000 that's under budgeted there.
Yeah.
That, and they already have a $500,000 reserve in that fund. Right at, give or take. I'm just using simple numbers, but.
Yep.
To help.
Sounds good.
So did you guys get that? So we're going to increase that computer line item by $100,000 in the budget, just knowing, and we'll need to let surveyors off GIS to know that we're going to use that fund to fund that upgrade for their server setup.
Susan is asking, she would like to increase it in IT budget and the commissioner's budget, 100. And what I. Reasoning behind it.
Is that the bottom of the second page?
The IT, which line, do you know which?
Probably would be computer equipment and programming and admission.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's,
2007.
yeah, it's already 340 though, not 100. That's what I'm,
She's asking to increase it by an additional 100 to 150,000.
okay. Sorry, I thought I misunderstood you. I thought you said from 100 to 150.
She's asking to
Apologize.
increase it between 100 and 100. And I don't know the reasoning, that was just an email she sent.
I mean, there's a couple commissioners here. Is there something? I mean, we did just increase 60 in the CCD fund. Is there a need? Is Jeff still around?
And I
No,
think the
he's
reasoning,
working on an upgrade.
Bobby, I'll look down because you're the
and I think. the
most
reasoning-
qualified IT person in the room. So what's your thoughts?
Because they talked about the rotation when we had the meeting, that was the reasoning behind it, to start a rotation.
Right. I mean, Jeff and I talked, I will say that Jeff and I have talked about rotation for the 4 years that I was in the commissioner's office. It just never happened.
Well, I mean, technically, we did increase it by 100 net because we took 40 and shifted it from the general fund to the CCD and increased it 60,000 there. So there is a net increase of $100,000. And I know
Right.
when you mentioned earlier that you estimated the cost of a unit was somewhere,
Well, government, well,
rough guess.
rough
know,
guess,
let's say
don't hold me to it. I
$1,000.
know government pricing is different than my pricing, but I want to say $900. But again, I don't know about software licensing and all that stuff. That's more of a Jeff question. But let's just say $1,000. I can't buy one for $1,000 and sell to my client for $1,000, but I don't get government
amazing.
pricing either. So.
Bobby, in your history with discussing that with Jeff, was there discussion about putting servers and switches and routers and things like
They
that on a
have-
rotation as
Over
well?
the last few years, we have upgraded switches and routers and UPSs. We have done a lot of that.
Mhm.
The infrastructure has been updated within the last couple of years.
Could any of that 100 or 150 that she's talking about be associated with putting those kinds of equipment on a rotation as well, is what I'm getting at?
Well, that, again, because I don't deal in the type of switches, my company doesn't deal in the type of hardware that Jeff puts in for for our government, because obviously I have dental offices. This is a government entity. I don't know what the,
I guess,
what the rotation would be on those. Switches don't really change out much. It's because the Cisco switches that are put in, it's software upgrades, it's firmware
Mm.
upgrades. So the physical hardware doesn't necessarily have to be rotated out every 5 years.
what about servers? Do you know any about the servers? and
Well,
rotation?
servers can go, well, I mean, I've got a server out there that's 9 years old.
I guess I know about, I'm not asking about in general, I'm talking about the specific servers that we have running. Do you know, did you ever discuss a rotation with Jeff for those?
We didn't discuss rotation,
Okay,
because the money was never there for the servers.
okay, that's kind of what I was
I mean,
wanting to know. We
you
can
know,
ask Susan when she
Servers
gets
have
here.
been replaced and upgraded.
Absolutely, and so have switches, and I've had those discussions with
You know,
Jeff.
but
I'm
no,
just
he
trying
and I
to,
didn't really discuss a lot of the rotation of the servers.
I guess what I was getting at is a $900 laptop is one thing, but we heard earlier about a $25,000 server. I said $900 laptops, yeah, they add up to put them on a rotation, but we also have servers. We heard earlier about a $25,000 server.
Well,
If we were building a rotation plan, I could see where we
well, and I
couldn't
would
just
also,
budget for
I mean, it can be
laptops.
expensive because then depending upon, again, Microsoft licensing,
Sure.
when you buy a server and you're running Microsoft, you have to buy client access licenses, which gets expensive. I'd have to do that too. I mean, the licensing gets very expensive. So I personally, because I haven't looked at the size of the servers and stuff, I would hesitate to tell you what that dollar figure
Okay.
would be. He's more,
Yeah, we're gonna need to talk to Jeff, I
Well,
guess,
yeah.
about.
I would
some-
tell you,
Dollars a computer estimated.
18.
Even asking.
so the total budget for those items
1,800, is that
for
what?
IT at this point would be $575,000
Well, that's about, he didn't get it, we don't get a discount.
if we added the two different funds together. But again, it's an increase this year of roughly $140,000 from last year's budget. So that increased it by nearly 30%. I would think that has to
Okay, where are we getting? Because
certainly push us in the right direction.
budget by 25 in the computer equipment.
Are there dollar amounts or specific requirements that can, are required to be met for it to be paid out of the capital account?
No,
You can pay anything you want?
yeah, I
Capital
don't, no,
expenditures.
I
Right,
don't
I-
think there is.
I understand capital expenditures and my day job, a laptop is not a capital expenditure and it's an expense.
It's,
So,
it's a capital expenditure.
It's a capital expenditure.
okay,
Yeah, it's a capital expenditures and under our qualifications. Anything that's not anything tangible, basically.
I've got
Must
a
be a
question
tangible.
when you're
I
done.
mean,
Salary
listen,
can't
from an
be-
IT perspective, I don't have a
Yeah.
problem raising the budget for IT, but we just have to be mindful of everything else that we're doing as well. We've been making a lot of changes to the general, I just want to be mindful.
Go ahead, Kenan, jump in here.
I hate to interrupt people, but anyway, when we talked about planning commission, Tom had put 2,400 in for computer. So how many departments should be doing this individually versus this grand replacement plan through Jeff? I don't know the answer to that. He put it in because he was afraid his, whatever, 6-year-old computer like we have is going to go bad. We don't know if it's going to go bad tomorrow or 5 years from now. It's probably outdated, though it's a pretty good computer. So it has an i7 chip in it. So should individual departments be putting this in like he did? Or should this be,
Yeah, I do too. I agree.
First, that everything goes in the commissioner. We've been trying, and we'll hopefully have it next year to come up with just an IT budget. We've been working on it. Jeff would rather it all came from the same place because it's easier for Jeff to keep track of
Yes.
what he's bought
Okay.
and how he's bought it.
Absolutely.
So-
that's why we're trying to put everything in the-
so removing that from the planning commission was actually be in sync with what Jeff's wanting to happen. So I don't feel as bad.
Okay, did the mayor respond?
It'd be the secretary.
Okay. Steve, Joe, is there anything else in your budgets, any of them that you want to talk about? I mean, courthouse, there wasn't a whole lot there. So, I mean, we haven't talked at all about your courthouse budget. So, I mean, do you have any questions or concerns there?
I want to.
Steve and I did the budget, we increased some and decreased some, we did nothing we
Yeah.
increased other than what had to be increased.
Yeah,
Well, you went up 0.5%, so we need an explanation why you went up that much. You went up 0.5% from this year. We demand an
utility-
explanation.
utilities are actually running pretty good. I mean, I was a little surprised about. Oh,
I'm sorry, Bill,
Evan.
I probably didn't hear what you said.
We were gonna deal with that next year.
yeah, we did not change anything in that in the budget this year, Bobby. She's referring to the old jail. Is what she's referring to. And you know, that since the coroner will be moving out in probably into next year or so, whatever.
Well, it depends on when the courthouse is
Yeah,
done.
well,
But we're not talking about that, Steve. I'm not bringing it up.
Do you have a-
barring that
You have an
question.
ETA on that?
Focus.
But
Focus.
so then it obviously,
Do we have to?
Focus.
So what did we decide on that utility at the old jail?
We
we
did,
didn't adjust it at all because
didn't
they
adjust
didn't
it at all.
adjust it.
Let the record show we punted.
Well, because nothing changed this year. There's the reason we
yeah,
punted.
nothing's changing.
Nothing will change until the coroners.
And the problem, what we pay in utilities was based on it being a jail. Because all those rates were different. Water and everything usages, because it's a different line, so it's a different meter. I asked the water department whether we could adjust that without doing anything. They're saying no, because it's a 3-inch line going in as far as water. We could get by with the 1-inch line. The expenditure to make all the fixtures function with a smaller line to change the meter was in excess of $100,000. So although I hate the fact of what we have to pay for electric or for water usage out there, changing it, we can eat that for several years before we about that cost. So I don't know if it's in anybody's appetite to want to tackle. I mean, we could put
The estimates was to get all that change was like $100,000. It was very expensive.
So it's like
pages, but
under 3, that line going under 3 that they paid for out of their whatever.
oh, that was, I would say if something ever happens out there, meter or, because there is a leak in that line that they patched. And I don't know how long that will last. I'd say if we have to dig that up and change it, I would go to a residential meter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's gonna do pressure wise out there because then you'd be feeding a 1-inch line into a 3-inch line. Trying to feed that building. And I don't know pressure wise if it's gonna be adequate for anything to function correctly. That was my concern. But I also, $100,000 to change everything. was
With-
expensive because they're paying $700-800 or something a month. Where it would drop to like 100 and something.
Oh,
It takes a long time to make up $100,000.
yeah, 7 or 8 years. Well, you being a farmer and Joe being an ex, street guy, couldn't you do it for less than 100?
Maybe.
Newcastle allow it?
There's a lot of, you don't have 100 and some people in that building now. You've got a dozen, let's say. Yes. that's where it's hard to justify, but it's also hard to justify that big of an expenditure to get it changed over. I mean, if we had a pile of cash somewhere that you guys aren't telling us about, it might be worth the change. It's just gonna take several years to recoup that money.
So I guess before I would want to throw a pile of cash, because honestly, the county does have some reserves. What's the long-term plan? Do we really need that building and that big of a building for a dozen people? Is there alternatives? Is there, that would be my questions. And I'm not asking the questions now. I'm just saying that I think we'd have to go through a planning cycle and say, hey, you know, I'd hate to dump $100,000 in it and then we're selling it next week. You know, or what, you know what I'm saying?
You have a line on someone who is interested in purchasing an old jail, by all means.
I don't know.
I'll find them.
I mean, Kenan may want to open a haunted house or something. I'm just trying to think outside the
Well,
box.
that's only
That was
3
my
weeks a
issue with
year.
Well,
this
And
moving.
their goal has always been not to stay, long-term goal is not to stay at that facility. They personally have put in a lot of money into fixing it to where they can use it. But that's, when you look, and Steve, I think you may still have a copy of it, when Mandy and Lucas came with their long-term plan, one of their long-term plans was a new building. But of course, you know, nobody's looking to spend money to build a building right now. But yeah,
Kara Huffman has a for sale sign outside the old Y. Can you put one outside the
Oh,
old jail?
God, no. You
I
want
think
to talk
she-
about utilities of a building?
No, we're talking about putting the for sale sign like the Y, not
we're-
buying the Y. We don't need the Y.
You know, move EMS back to the
Well, if you can find a
Park.
place to put EMS, then
the
by all
park,
means, put a for sale sign on it.
the park.
They were out there,
I know, that's why I said,
but it wasn't conducive out there either because they couldn't put their ambulances in a garage.
Anyhow, we've kind of gone down a rabbit hole here that we ain't, I'm gonna try to get us back up of dirt. So,
They haven't- Yeah, that, no, we talked.
so as of right now, we've really changed nothing in your budget. Obviously, you just gave us this love letter from the city.
Mayor this morning.
Yes.
Oh, I
At the
agree.
end of the
No,
meeting,
no,
I started.
No, we talked about that.
100,000 and I ended at 550.
they won't come up off of it.
They were at 590. That was the letter he gave me back.
Hey, Steve, pull that microphone a little closer to you.
And it apparently, if they go to anything less than where they're at there, they're gonna have to eat that cost because they have no way of making it up. They're pretty much at their bottom dollar at this point, and looking rising cost also coming into next year. So I don't know if we can even get, I asked for possibly a 2-year agreement also. We'll have to look in to see whether that's practical. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. That's kind of where we're at as of right now. If that helps in any decision making going forward with that, that it is a lot better than where we started.
over $1 million, wasn't
Yeah, he was
That's
pushing $1 million when we first met with him.
They've trimmed an awful lot off of theirs to get to where they're at now. I appreciate the effort they put into getting it to that amount.
I was gonna say, they laid off several people, didn't they, to get there?
If they go any lower, they're gonna have to do it again. So,
I know listening when I did through the original meeting, I think their numbers are very realistic in the actual,
Shit.
and it's really, this number's better than what I anticipated, honestly. So, I mean, I think it's, so you anticipate for next year, you're basically going to need $290,000 to add to the EMS service.
I would think so.
So 290,000,
On
because
top.
we have 300,000
300, yeah.
budgeted in the EMS lit.
Right.
And so we're going to need $290,000. Well,
Well, the .04 brings in 478. Some of that went to Henry County though.
it did.
Well, and you be mindful that Middletown and Shirley will be asking for part of,
Do we have any idea how much? Haven't gotten there yet.
I know Mandy and Brian and Lucas have been working, all of them, Andy, Ebert, Phil Chandler, all of them have been working together. I know she had put together some initial numbers. I don't know that those were, I think, Steve, you may have seen that document.
So,
I think she's talked about it, but I don't know if you've seen it.
Nothing was set in stone that I knew.
Right, no, and nothing is set in stone, but they were, you know, originally they had done this when, we thought the EMS lit was going to be able to take place, and then we had the meeting, and I think, Chad, your words to them were, I can't remember now, sorry about your luck or something, not sorry about your luck, but something like that.
I don't
when we
think it
thought
was
we couldn't
that,
do
please.
this.
I think it was far.
we
more
were
press
told
than
that we did
They
not
couldn't
believe,
do the lit. and
did not
then
change the lit. We were
and then
waiting
now
on
that-
confirmation.
We can change the lit. That's where those numbers were coming from when she thought at first we could change the
So,
lit.
so
Conversation with the mayor, we all know that, and we understand that in order to make any of this fly, that lit was going to have to be increased. We understand this.
I disagree with you on that, but
It's not pleasant for any of us, but eventually, because, and this isn't just a Henry County problem, this is a statewide.
It is.
yeah. And so here's a couple concerns I have. One, we're sitting here with $1.5 million in unappropriated monies this year. We have $1.5 million in expected revenue that's under what we've budgeted so far. I promise you, I would not raise taxes if that's the position we're in. There's no way in the world anyone can convince me to raise taxes. Two, the concern I have with Middletown and Shirley, we cut off Southwest Henry because of the exact same thing. We took their funding away.
No,
So then
no,
we're-
no, no. that is
Let
not
me
what it is.
finish, please, Bobby. I
Because
have
you're
the floor at
incorrect
this
on
time.
why
Let me finish, please. I have the floor at this time.
Well, you are incorrect. That's
Okay,
why
we did.
Nicetown went away.
Knightstown, we removed their funding. We took away their equipment that we were funding for them, which was their funding in a lot of ways. So we did take funding away from them and they failed. So now all of a sudden, we're going to start funding other outside entities, and I have an issue with that. That's a concern that because we are contracting with the city of Newcastle to cover everything in the county. And they cover everything in the county. I don't contract with an IT company and then hire a second IT company to cover it too. So that's my concern in spending taxpayer dollars. Now,
Right now, I know that, what Henry County Service does, Newcastle Service does not. So, and what Newcastle Service does, Henry County does not.
yeah, and I mentioned Middletown and Shirley was the two I was saying, not that, I understand that.
So we also took Middletown's money away as well, and it was $15,000. The reason Southwest closed, they weren't able to take the runs that they were supposed to be taking. There's a whole lot more to the story than us taking away $15,000.
They were responding to approximately 28% of the dispatch runs that they were sent out on. Service can't survive if you don't show up.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. And then when the ambulance payments were due, the money was being funneled through the commissioner's office to Knightstown and then given back to the commissioners to make the payment on those ambulances. So basically, we were paying ourselves for an ambulance. I'm not even sure how legal that even was at the time,
But that was an agreement from before.
that was before all of us.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it got started, but it was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we found out what it was and it couldn't be paid on its own, we quit paying it. And they could not make those payments. So rather than lose those ambulances, the commissioners went ahead and made those payments.
Actually, Mandy made those payments.
Nate, we did. the
Henry,
first
yeah,
one, then
and
they
Henry
did-
County EMS did, yes.
Henry County EMS paid the final
Yes.
payments on those ambulances. That was how that actually played out. And basically, their service went away because you cannot run a service that you only respond to 28%.
You go right ahead.
No, sure.
So Newcastle was always being dispatched on every Nicetown run, whether they were responding on every Nicetown run, whether they were dispatched or not, because they never knew if they were going to respond. Yeah.
There was other things that factored into that service that made those decisions. I mean, and it wasn't something that we relished the idea of.
Mm-mm.
We didn't want to do it, but those facts came out and it was very hard to dispute those. And that's what we were faced with, was either do this because you were delaying response times by whether or not somebody showed up.
And I need to add one more thing. We did stop the $15,000 going to them, but there was an advisory board that ran Southwest Ambulance Service, and the advisory board voted to disband that service.
Yeah.
The commissioners did not do that. The advisory board, and
Yeah.
I sat on that advisory board, and I, as commissioner, abstained from voting because of that.
I can vouch for that. I was at that meeting. Now, Shirley, 75% of Shirley exists in Hancock County, but I don't know where their EMS, where they're located, their fire and EMS.
Located on the Henry County side.
Okay, but they take runs over towards Kennard then, right? That's their region that they respond to?
So
Okay,
they go down to the.
And-
Shirley, I think they might go down towards Greensboro. Yeah.
okay. And
We all
then
got
middle,
copies of the map that was given to us by Mandy when they were here. And it had that was actually the last page of a mock contract that did not have any legal authority or not even any lawyer. I don't think a lawyer was involved with writing it. But in my opinion, having something like that is exactly what this council needs to understand how we fund something. Because having the document that you just gave us, I appreciate that. And it says they will work in conjunction with Henry County EMS, Shirley Fire EMS, and Middletown EMS. From my standpoint, I would like to know if that map that was in that contract shows us exactly what they expect Shirley to take care of. And it shows what they expect Middletown to take care of. What I don't know is if that map and that contract is what the commissioners expect them to take care
Well,
of.
and again, that was just a starting.
Absolutely, completely
I
agree.
want everybody to understand that that was just a starting point.
And nothing written in stone in that contract. But if the commissioners were to sign a contract that agreed with what the expectations and responsibilities of each of those EMS services are, that would be very much in favor from my standpoint, so that this council can say, okay, we know exactly what we're getting for the dollars that we're allocating. For us to sit here and say, yeah, we know Newcastle wants 590. We know Shirley wants some money. We know Middletown wants some money, but what are we getting? Where do the calls go? I would prefer to have a contract that spells out exactly what each one of our EMSs in this county are responsible for, and what you guys expect, and what you guys expect and sign is what we have to use to determine how to fund it. Does that make sense?
So I want to make sure everybody understands that Shirley and Middletown provide BLS service
and only,
and only BLS service.
Right, they have calls to
So they
paramedics
do
if
a
there's
lot
an
of
ALS call,
calls.
right?
Newcastle responds on when it's ALS, or if for some reason they don't have somebody available.
Right.
So,
Still covers those
yes,
areas.
for ALS, because
Certainly.
yes, so.
And
if-
you and I had that conversation a year and a half or 2 years ago, that if those two went away, Newcastle
Newcastle has to
still,
respond to everything.
they have to respond, period.
Yeah.
And if that's the only expectation of the commissioners, is that all calls are Newcastle's responsibility, then this council and the county have no obligation to pay Middletown and Shirley. But that's not what I anticipate.
So,
I understand the logic behind that, but if
because
we're
then-
going
because
to
then-
include
Then
that,
what's going to happen is Newcastle's going to have to add more people. to
right,
Cover all 100% of
right.
Shirley.
And we know that this number that they're giving us doesn't include covering those areas, because those areas are being covered by those other two. So you see where
Yeah.
if we had a good contract that showed us exactly what we're getting and who's covering what, and we know what the dollar amounts are, it's pretty easy for us to go, yeah, we need to pay this out of this fund, or we need to increase lit, or whatever we need to do to make the payment, we don't have direction from you guys to be
Right.
able to accurately do what we need to do.
To cover ALS service across the county
Mhm.
outside the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
This was basically their ask of us was, this will cover ALS service across the county.
Okay.
Now, Henry County is going to ALS. When do they kick in with?
Transport.
Henry County again they are ALS, but they're doing ALS transports out of the hospital. They are not doing 911 ALS like
Right.
Newcastle.
Okay. That's what Mandy
Now,
said.
they do back up when if the city has a squad down or something or they're getting their butts handed to them,
They can,
they hit them on the radio and say, hey, do you have a truck? Can you come and help? And then they do.
they can then. Okay. What you're talking about, Shannon, that map exists at the basement in the 911 training center that shows Shirley. It shows, I guess, Middletown's pretty much Fall Creek Township. And I think Shirley does a little bit of, what is it? Harrison and Greensboro.
Yeah.
You got it?
Mhm.
That map? That's it. That's what's down in the 911 center. What's the blue?
That's the overlap where both of them
No.
cover. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. That MOU.
Proposed map on the sample.
I don't see in the commissioner's budget where there's a utilities line item. Is that all paid out of the courthouse? Okay.
No more than we have spent, we just left it the same.
So we are
Spent 141,000 out of
of the 350 that's budgeted, so.
Yeah, so we just left that one the same.
Mhm.
We figured that hadn't changed.
Thank you.
Yeah, is there any other commissioner related items?
Yes, so I don't know if Scott Hines talked to anyone else about this. He's asking for a training budget. He's our building inspector. So it sounds like
Comes out of the of unappropriated monies.
this would be an additional 1,600 a year. There's $125 per month for a class each month, and then $65 to join the association. So I wanted to see if we had funding allocated for that.
Are those numbers included in any in this budget?
I got this request after the budget.
But like Debbie said, those
you.
can be paid out of yeah.
I increase, when we talked about it and looked at it, we're always happen to go to unappropriated. So when we looked at it, we increased the travel meetings to 70,000. So
So
it can be increased more, but we did increase it to $7,000.
it can be in there considering, we can consider it in there.
Mhm.
And then you guys can authorize them to do whatever you guys want to do.
Out of the unappropriated. Because we pay a lot out of, like, new elected officials. When the newly elected officials have their training, it typically comes out of that as well.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah, yeah, so.
And the recorder also has elected official training,
So,
but that's only for certain officials, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It's for, it's only stakeholder meetings and it's for surveyor, clerk, treasurer, and auditor. And if any excess funds are left,
They go,
council.
They added council last year.
People from each office can be paid out of that fund. So, like, if I take 2 people with me, then all 3 of us can be paid. from-
Okay, additional items?
Technology. Susan's here. Technology, there was a plan we talked about before you got here.
So
well, before you start, Susan, why don't you, Chad, go over what we've done
So
already?
we increased the CCD budget by $100,000. For the computer maintenance budget in the CCD by $100,000. is what we decide, because that fund was under budgeted by about $100,000 according to the Baker Tilly revenue estimates for next year. So we increased that to 235,000 plus the 340,000 that's in the commissioner's budget. So that's $575,000 for computer maintenance technology. So it's, both were increased. So it's up nearly $113,000.
Both were increased.
But we both increased, so it up, the total increase was about roughly 113,000.
For the computer equipment and program,
Just talking about starting to.
113.
Well, so no.
Take lap.
That's what we talked.
This was increased about 13,000. The other was increased by 100. The commissioner's budget was increased by about 13. Commissioner's budget by the CCD fund was increased by about 100.
The other thing I wanted to mention was when we did the whole bond proposal, which doesn't seem like it's gonna be likely this year, we had the servers that, talked about doing it. The total Jeff said was gonna be 125,000. So I was just gonna ask if there are not funds at the end of the year remaining, if we could consider doing that from the general fund as an additional to replace those servers and start getting them ready to be on rotation.
How much again?
100 to 125,000. It was not as much as we had initially thought, maybe it'd be, 200, 300,000. That's closer to 100,000. And I think we may have some of that left in our budget at the end of the year, but if you guys could consider if it is more than what we have budgeted, if we could do an additional to replace those servers at the end of the year. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I definitely bring us the numbers and certainly something we can take up in our meeting as an additional.
So is there a long-term replacement plan you've been working on?
It's extra money. that's
Okay.
extra. We have what we have budgeted to do a certain amount of laptops each year, maybe one server a year. Start to get things on rotation.
Okay. So that's what you're working on with Jeff?
Getting us to a point where, like right now, those are already out of date. So rather than start a rotation with out of date equipment, it kind of gets us more up to date so we can start a rotation with more up to date equipment.
Okay. Well, that is being planned to do that. Well, you just,
I think it would be a good idea to consider doing an additional at the end of the year to do that if we don't have enough in our line item for it.
well, hopefully, what we have so far, we may. We may.
Okay.
At the end of this year.
Additional.
Well, and I just will, and I agree with this, but I just need to caution everybody that replacing servers here in the county doesn't happen in 2 days. It is a very long process. So if you buy 6 servers thinking that those servers are all going to get replaced in 2 months, not going to happen. Just setting expectations that, I'm all for this. I've tried to do this for several years. But it doesn't happen quickly, especially since he's a one-man band and he's got 400 employees to deal with. So just setting expectation is timeframe.
That's a good point. You guys may have already said this, but the amount of laptops or desktops that we would need to replace every year to be on a 5 to 7 year rotation is really more than Jeff can do by himself.
We've talked about him being,
Constrained by that. And if you guys didn't, you probably already said this too, but I think whenever he does choose to retire, his job becomes 3 people.
we mentioned that when we added this building. We said, don't you need at least a half-time person? He said, well, we have Brian True, but he's the director of 911, so he's really kind of tied up there, and he didn't want anybody else, but maybe Bobby helps him and maybe Brian helps him, but he's doing the work of 2 or 3 people.
He's doing networking, he's doing desktop support, he does everything.
I don't know how he does it.
He does everything. Except when 9 Star has to come in and do something. So the comment of we don't pay IT and then pay a second company to come in and do it, we do. Because 9 Star does come in and do a lot of stuff that Jeff does not do.
Does that fall under contractual services?
There's not, Stephen, you guys have to change, but there's not even
And I don't know how much of that he wants for additional desktop replacement.
We moved that into the CCD fund.
Yeah, for 26.
Yeah, for 26, we moved that into the CCD.
You don't have a lot this year left. You don't have a lot this year left. Before Bobby tells me to use a mic.
Okay. Susan, I think if I'm remembering correctly, the only other thing that I brought up to the commissioners was that we threw out an idea to give the highway department a shot in the arm to help with bridges by zeroing out their insurance this year and then allowing that $470,000 to create a new line item as bridges. And so that way the highway department would retain all of that fund and I feel very comfortable with that because we're in a very rock solid position in the black. We have over $2.5 million in the black. We're trending very well. We would have to have our worst year times 2 to get into trouble. And with the amount we have budgeted next year. The other thing we've done is we've pulled the park and the health department, their insurance and the health and liability and work comp out of their budgets, out of their levies and brought it into the commissioner's budget. And we've just lowered their levy. And in the case of the health department, we allowed Angela to retain 2 of the employees that she was going to terminate. And we added them back into her budget, and moved over 33,000, I'm thinking, out of the Health First because it was pushing their Health First fund to the brink and to her regular levy. And so we retained a director position, a nursing position, and the part-time, and we added those into the health fund to help shore her up since she was going to go from 11 to 8 full-time employees. So to make sure she can continue to provide the excellent service the health department has in this community. And she felt very appreciative and very comfortable she could with those numbers. So is there anything else I'm forgetting that I know we went over the list before you got here? I just want to make sure we caught you up.
Yeah, Steve was very much against helping the highway department out before you came.
He always is.
Joe was a big proponent, Steve. It was,
Steve was shaking his head going, I don't know.
I just want to make sure when you say bridges that you include small culverts.
well,
That's part of
we
it.
can label it however, I know that,
It's part of it.
I call it all a bridge. I don't care if it's, what is it,
It's
20,
20 feet.
20 some,
Sometimes
yeah.
if there's a
What-
separation in there and everybody gets confused. I just want to make.
Whatever you want to label it, get with Debbie and she can, Joe, tell us what to label it. You know,
Just wanted to make.
guys, did you want
You
to?
could even make it say small structures, bridges and culverts to cover it all.
It just makes it easy. You weren't here, so no one was here to defend it.
We took that out before. Appreciate it.
Zero it out. The RDC budget, zero it out. So I'll tell Scotty and then we.
You have 90 seconds.
90 seconds, that's all I need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moved on. Yes. There is nothing we changed in this budget. Nothing we
Well,
changed in,
Nothing we changed in the last hour.
no, exactly.
We changed. it
We
before
increased,
we
there's
leave.
nothing from these guys.
You need more. Yeah. More paper.
So you guys budget contract with the map. And.
Dollar figures is the big question.
You need more paper.
Dollar figures is the big question. I mean, it's up to you guys to determine how it gets done. We just need to know how much we have to pay. In my opinion, how it gets done is the commissioner's decision. The how it get paid is what the council needs to get.
Can you have that to us by this Friday? Can you have that to us by this Friday?
We have to pass our budget in September, so we need it before then. Does that help?
I was really meaning September 1,
Watch a
not
couple other
August 1.
days.
Focus.
Focus. No more talking. Move on. Corey's turn, and you know how much he can talk.
Well, you
Corey,
say,
quick, you
you
got.
say we
you're
got till
over 2 minutes.
September, but we're gonna have our budget updated and to us by our August 13th board meeting, so, or council meeting. So if we can have
Yeah.
what you guys are thinking to put anything in, because we've added nothing in the budget
Thank you, Joe.
I'm
for
gonna bring-
paying the additional that you brought to us today. or anything to the other EMS providers. So I know we had a discussion the other night and voted to have an EMS lit discussion, but whether or not we increase lit and by how much kind of depends on what you guys want to do overall, in my opinion. So, right? Completely understand. I agree.
A lot better number. We did in reserve this year than whatever.
And they were-
Yep.
They didn't seem very interested in a 2-year contract at all because of the unknowns.
The unknown. They're not against it, but it'll be hard to do. I asked.
Thanks, Steve.
It'd be nice if we agreed to the 590, it'd be a lot easier, but if we agreed to 590 over 2 years,
I,
see if they would nibble at that.
I think the biggest concern we have is the whole world just turns on its head come 28 anyway. And 27, we have to restructure everything. So just having that security for the next 2 years, I think would be ideal.
Then next year we'll start tying into that.
Everything's increasing,
Yeah.
except our tax dollars, revenues.
All right, Mr. Murphy, you got 2 minutes. Go.
It'll be less than 2 minutes. I understand that the contribution from 25 to 26 is the same. Thank you. Appreciate you continuing to fund Penny York's position. I gave you a document that just provides some information.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do have one question.
All right.
Sorry,
so-
it's in your 2 minutes. Because I did not ask this on the council budget because I was hoping you would be here today. This county pays $21,407 to the IRPC. Just help me justify that. Because I've said on that board, I like a lot of those folks very well. I know it brought this county a few dollars here and there in minimal amounts. And I know it was big in potentially getting us some grant opportunities at one point. I'm just trying to understand because you know me, I get into the weeds with everything. I'm having a hard time understanding where we benefit $21,704.
For the Regional Planning Commission?
Yes, sir. How does it help in the position of the RDC, the EDC, in that
It's-
group?
It is
It-
another tool in the toolbox. And the counties that participate get the most value out of it. And so I actually have been pretty removed from the organization, not because I don't believe in it. We have elected officials at the county level and the city level and other towns that are participating. And so I would recommend that the county stay involved.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, because I'm just trying to understand, because I'm not seeing the value like you are. I'm not in your chair, so I don't see it firsthand.
It is another
Well,
tool in
And
the
I,
toolbox.
I will say that we did get, and my mind just went blank last year, traffic studies. All of the counties within the region or within this EIRPC, we did get traffic studies that were included as
It's
part of that.
Pretty extensive traffic study, very
Yeah.
valuable. Brownfields, you want to address that or not? The one that we've been,
2 minutes.
Yeah,
well, 30 seconds, is that a valuable tool? That's what,
Valuable tool.
and that's what we're working on now with EIRPC. And Henry probably would be one of those counties that would get a chunk of that. We already agreed to hire the company to do the assessment. We did that at the last week's meeting. Potentially there could be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I think the other value to the organization, if the organization's board of directors, which I am not one, if they collaborated with one voice to the region's General Assembly delegation, there is power there to speak with one voice.
appreciate the question. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Corey.
You too.
Tom, are you ready?
My day won't be better than yours.
Don't seem so excited.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll email to you in the morning. Sounds good, thanks.
What she said. Thanks, kids.
Okay.
Is 1179, is that the park, if I'm remembering correctly? Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Rental thing.
Yep, I forgot about that non-reverting fund they have now. So, Tom, I'm sure you might have heard what we mentioned about the insurance
Sure.
stuff. So,
Now you tell me what you did.
so we basically, we're making it more streamlined, and instead of giving you the money to turn around and give back to us, we're just taking it out. I don't see 1117 in here. Did we have? Oh, yeah. Hang on. Hang on.
999 non-present appropriations in the general fund. Page, well.
There we go. They were stuck together.
It's right after 32.
They were stuck together. We're good. All right, thank you.
Page 32.
So anyway, instead of just giving you the money in the levy and turn around and you giving it right back to us, we're just not giving it to you in the first place. So it will technically reduce your levy, but the net sum zero is the net sum is zero. So it has no actual impact. Because we're not going to charge you for the insurance anymore. We zeroed out those line items, the work comp, and in your case, just the health insurance. Because you didn't pay a separate liability line in your budget. And that was out of the 1179. All right, so the rest, everyone, we've kind of just done this very informally, whereas used to in the past, they go line by line by line. You know, I'm just going to throw it to you and you can tell us whatever you'd like about the budget and then we'll ask questions accordingly. So we'll start with 1117, if you don't mind.
And I don't have one for you for that, I'm sorry. You can look at mine, probably.
Okay.
You went up 94%. In the 1117. But it's a small budget.
And this is a non-reverting fund. So this is monies from the rentals. So how's the balance on the account going? So you can go ahead and. Okay. So you're budgeting less than 25% of your balance.
Yeah,
So,
probably, that fund has probably been underutilized for repairs and maintenance over the years. I think they've tried to take some of it out of the 1179, but then they didn't take enough out of there to actually do anything in the way of repairs. And we're probably planning for a buffer, but I don't think there was any goal as to how much they should spend on a regular basis for preventative maintenance and repairs, which is why they've run into problem.
Scoot 4 inches to your left. We're getting feedback out of that catch box, or move that catch box to the right a little. Mhm. Yeah, just move it away from you a little bit. There you go.
We will get feedback. You're good.
not that far. They won't be able to hear you. There you go.
Okay.
That's good.
You can't-
That speaks up.
Yeah.
I've been yelling at air traffic controllers all morning, so. Like I said, I think the budget, the amount in that fund is probably higher than it probably needs to be because they probably haven't been spending out of that fund what they probably been spending. There probably needs to be some guidelines to have that money to go to repairs and maintenance of the buildings that are rented.
Well, I would encourage the park board to kind of look at historically what you've averaged and try to budget reasonably close to that, or, you know, and then that still leaves you a pretty solid cushion, because I'm trying to remember, it's been a few days since I've been on the park board. But I think even back in those days, we were bringing in least that amount in rentals and all the other stuff. So, I mean, the 25,000 seems on the low side even. So, I mean, I think you've got some extra cushion there. And again, as I mentioned with IT stuff, I think we got to start being proactive and we got to start doing,
We absolutely do.
you know, I mean, I know the park has been the recipient of a lot of funds to get them caught up. But you know, I don't know that, we don't know what food and beverage is going to happen in 20 years. It doesn't sound like it.
Well,
Who knows? Who knows? None of us will be here by then, but
even though they have been recipient of funds, which is greatly appreciated and has done a lot. Those funds in the last year and a half, 2 years were project specific
yeah,
and we're gonna run out. Those are all gonna get spent.
yeah. I'm just saying, I don't know if we'll get those in the future. So I don't want things to get
We're
broke
not
down to
figuring
the
that
point they were.
There's gonna be
So-
any there, yeah.
Well, your revenues so far through the end of June have been $27,000. So you're not even expending for the whole year while you brought in the first 6 months. Now, maybe the first 6 months you get more than the last 6 months. I don't know, but I think it's under, you
think
could
it's
spend
pretty-
more.
I think it's pretty equitable, honestly, because there's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's yeah. I mean, obviously you get more in the warmer months. You don't make as much in the winter months, but
And it doesn't make too much during as much during.
yeah, you offset with a little bit of firewood sales and stuff like that, but yeah.
We're hoping to be able to pull more in with the shelter house, the big shelter house, than the redo on that has garnered a lot of interest in that building. And a lot of people want to use that in the winter. We don't have any heat in that building. So we're looking at what we can do to get some heat in that building.
Can you use the rental fund to help put heat in that building?
We probably can. That's kind of what I was looking at. So you go, well,
Well-
be able to use some of that to do that. That's,
It's also not cheap to put
no.
heat in that
Oh,
building.
no.
I can remember it being a pretty big number, if
Yeah,
I
it's a
remember
pretty
right.
large
It was a
number.
few $100,000,
It
so.
was a pretty big number.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with, there's no gas ran there. The gas is on the wrong side of 3 and there's some things like
Yeah,
that
we
that
would-
come into
As it
play.
is right now, getting gas lines to it would be one thing, and we might have to go with the propane tanks.
Yeah, I think we looked at like those, multi-unit, I don't know what they call them, but they're electric, but they'll do both. And kind of like a mini split for a house, but it's a commercial deal. Yeah, it was a lot. I remember seeing some quotes back in the day, but it's been a while. Does anyone have any questions for Tom on this 11-17 budget? So 43.5. Okay. So you're budgeting just over half your last year's receivables. So that gives you an idea of where you're at and you
You
could,
brought in 47 so far. That was through the end of June. Didn't
Yeah.
include July 4th.
Yeah.
We'll probably bring in 50.
um, now then we can move on to the 11-79. Tom, you have anything you want to comment on that yourself?
Not really.
I
Okay,
have a request.
yes, sir.
So they have janitorial supplies, building material in both budgets.
I was,
They need to be in one, because what happens is we're constantly trying to fix one because they don't realize it was paid out of this one and it's overdrawn, so then we have to fix it to go to this one. It needs to come out of one. And the other suggestion is, did you hire a new superintendent? Is that what I heard, right?
Yes.
We have
You also need to get the step on that. And.
already done.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And, secretary, thinking full-time secretary. And it's nothing against Liz. Liz is doing what she can do. But your new superintendent isn't gonna be inside, right? Gonna be outside.
A lot more, yeah. Yeah.
I'll just be honest.
Someone that knows the going.
Someone out there who's familiar with their things for a while. Yeah, because it's hard. A part-time secretary can't do.
No,
You're right.
She knows that.
Mhm.
And it's
It-
nothing,
it's
like I said,
stretching
nothing
her.
against
Oh, no, Liz is doing a good, but it's part-time and it just needs to be.
Liz interested?
No, I don't know. She's always said she didn't want full-time, but
She said she hasn't wanted full-time, and I think part of that, well, the biggest part of that is she's a caregiver for her parents.
Oh,
And, she's kind of devoted to doing that, and I don't,
she doesn't need health insurance.
all we can do is ask her.
You go 30 hours a week and could get fringe benefits.
but she is the main caregiver of both parents
That's
and
what he said.
yeah, so it does take up,
Well, that's up to her.
well, yeah, that's why, no, she doesn't.
I
So
don't,
you know that, okay.
and I don't know if it's a situation where there's a way to keep her in the mix. If she wants to be there, if
Mm-hmm.
we can do 2 part-times and end up with the equivalent of 1 full-time, I don't. That's something.
So are you recommending so the secretary position is already in here
Full-time.
as a full-time position?
That's 2 part-time.
That's 2
Two
part.
part-time, okay.
Yeah.
It-
And
I-
Liz might not want to fill that job, but she might say, yes, she wants. I just think she doesn't.
Right.
Okay.
It just needs-
So you're saying we would need to add a new line? I didn't realize that was 2. I'm sorry. I just see that in there. So it's 2 part-time positions. So you're recommending that we reduce that line item and add a full-time position in there?
Do you have 2 part-times right now?
We have 2 part-time now, because there's generally somebody there all the time,
Right,
most of, some of the days on the weekend, so.
thank you.
And Liz might want to do reduced hours and still do part-time.
Deb, do you remember what that, because there used to be a full-time position. Was that a comment 2? Trying to remember from my, back in the day.
Before my time, but I have to go look at it.
It was it was. we had-
Comment 1, it was the lowest, one of the, other than the the Conservancy District, the extension off. It was the Conservancy one. It was one of the lowest paid
Comma
positions.
A.
The
Comma
soil- I'm
A,
talking
yeah,
about
they're
Soil
supposed-
Conservancy.
Yes, the soil. It was the lowest paid position in the county.
26,000 when we came on.
Yeah, so it'd be a comma A position. Do you know what the salary?
Every comma A we have right now is part-time, and the part-time wage, the external, the hourly rate we're paying them now is $18, except for the weekend secretary is at 14.
What, do you know what Wagner's?
So that's part-time. All the comment 8s are part-time.
Right,
So I would,
Wagner
maybe we
did-
should go with a comment B.
well,
They all didn't add Vancouver, what was that? I think the lowest that you have now is 41,179.
It is.
I think that's
So I
it.
think that's probably because it's.
that's comma B, and that's all the comma A's are part-time, and that's where there's a secretary part-time and a weekend secretary part-time that are both, the classification point system came out to comma A, but they do not have a full-time midpoint or anything in there that we can compare to. We would need to get with Wagner Irwin Shealy and have them do an evaluation, I think, of a full-time secretary and see where it falls out.
What's her name?
From
Was-
when?
Was it Lisa?
Yeah, I've seen.
Lisa, back in the day, she was full,
Casey
Mhm.
was,
Yeah.
Casey was the secretary.
Lisa was the secretary too.
But since we redid all the classification and point systems last year, if we have the job description,
Casey.
We have the job description.
if we have,
For that, yeah.
so if we have the job description, my recommendation would be Wagner Irwin Shealy needs to look at it and place it in the proper classification. Before, I mean, we can add dollars into this budget. if
Say we could put a
want, but-
placeholder if we were gonna do it. So if we just wanted a full-time, if you ended up going with a full-time and then a weekend secretary, what are you thinking? 8 hour, how many hours for that weekend secretary, Tom?
What is it now?
It actually increased the hours over what the weekend secretary works now because it's kind of spotting now. She's, taking some college courses, so her schedule varies a little bit. And she's talking about maybe quitting anyway. So if you,
So like 8 hours a day or?
if you did 8 hours a day, you'd get a lot out of that 8 hours a day.
For the weekend.
For
Mhm.
the weekend. Lots of times the weekend person there is to collect monies that come in, make reservations for the building, provide some support for the people that just happen to stop by the building.
You say we're at 18 on that one?
Part-time weekend is 14.
Projects that are going on around events.
14?
And that's both Saturday and
Some
Sunday.
of the secretarial work that could be done more efficiently on the weekends than it is during the week when you're busy with all the weeklies.
Right.
So that could be a pretty valuable position to
But-
get stuff done.
That's Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
So Saturday and Sunday, 8 hours a day.
Yep.
Pardon me?
The new superintendent.
You plan on staying at the house?
Mm-mm, no.
The weekend is, she's working about 40 hours, 47 hours a week.
That's a lot more than,
Yeah, it's picked up a little bit with no,
okay, that's,
Yeah.
that's not, I mean, 1632, that's 64.
33, okay, that one's 33.
So, I mean, that's not,
that's some.
so I took 18 times the 16 times 52 and then added 10% just as a cushion. Or sorry, 14. I took 14 times 16 times 52 and then added 10%. So that got me to $13,000 in a part-time salary. Just to add that cushion for, if we decide to adjust any rate or whatever. And then in that case, we would end up with, so if we reduce that, I'm just putting in notes here. So if we reduce that to 13K, that would buy us, 13,000 there. If we moved the 2,000 in building materials, the $4,000 in, 2,000 in janitory, 4,000 in building materials, and 2,000 in plumbing supplies, that $8,000 over to your 11-17 budget. Because you really have spent virtually nothing out of those budgets or very little over the past while. But if we moved it over to there, that buys us another 8,000. So we're only adding the budget of a little over $11,000 to add a full-time secretary plus outside of the perf and healthcare. I totally understand that. That's another $20,000 that's gonna
So
go
if-
into play.
If you do the math based on Wagner Irwin Shealy's report, an annual salary midpoint for a comma A
Uh-huh.
is 35,424. If we had 97% of that is 34,362. And 95% of that is 33,653. So if we put a placeholder in there for a comma A,
Do you think it will still come back at a comma A, Debbie? You know the employees better because you have employees in your office.
Everybody up to make sure that everybody made the same.
So
Not-
What's
not a-
America? Is she a comment?
who
Yeah.
America?
So we see what-
is she at the park?
No, she's,
No, I'm just looking at Tom's actual secretary, see
Oh,
where she's at.
over in the planning commission.
Yeah.
She's a comma B.
yeah. I think for a placeholder's sake, we should probably put comma B in there.
Mhm.
That's my.
And
thought.
41,179 is what we are this year as a comma B. And we can discuss but we'll have to look at what we do with raises if we're gonna put them in preemptively. So a placeholder of 41,179 would be,
So Tom, how would you feel
Yeah.
about are you amenable to doing this, dropping your part-time down considerably? Adding a full-time position and then shifting the janitorial supplies and the plumbing supplies and the building materials over to your 1117.
Yeah, yeah.
Plumbing's not one of them that's in both, but you're talking about. still
It
moving
is,
there.
it's still in both. Plumbing supplies, building materials,
I had. those in both.
janitorial, they're in both.
Because plumbing supplies for the rentals would, I understand why he did both, because the rentals were paying for the repairs of all of the structures that get rented. Technically, can you say that the Smith building gets rented? Yes, it does, but it's also it's also administrative building, and so I understand the reasoning behind putting them in both.
I'd like to see them all moved to the 1117 myself.
Okay, so
That's,
are you good? So
just,
Bobby and Debbie?
just administratively, so we know where it is, which drawer's it in?
Yeah, which drawer? Yeah.
Hey,
513.
Bobby and Debbie, we're gonna make some switches in 1117. We're gonna increase 802 2000.01 to 4,000. And then 802 2000.04 to 6,500. And then the 2.06 to 05, I'm sorry, 05 to 3,500.
And we're gonna drop those out of
We're gonna
the 1179.
zero them out of the 1179. Do we need a separate line item for secretary? Since it's a full-time, that's what I was thinking too, but
You're gonna keep a part-time.
we're gonna keep up, should we change
We
that?
should just put a part-time secretary.
That's-
line in.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. So we need to alter, is everybody good with doing this? Scott left, I'm sorry, I just realized that.
Be back.
Okay, well, we'll wait a second until
Is
Scott
this
comes.
a $18 an hour or $14 an hour part-time? It's
Oh,
current.
the wage will depend on what we do. Right now, it's classified as an A.
But it's 14 because it's a weekend.
The weekend one is.
Yeah.
And I think
Why
we,
is that an outlier?
we gave the park superintendent the option.
I think that probably in my mind, I'm just thinking of from a WIS perspective, the full-time or the weekday is dealing with all the claims, they're dealing with all of that. The weekend is just dealing with the public and they're not really processing any of that stuff with the county.
I'm not sure that was a whiz. I think that was a superintendent decision.
Yeah, WIS classified them both as COMMOT A.
Well,
But having said that, COMMOT A is 295 points and below in their point classification system. So whether the secretary came in at a higher point number than the weekend secretary, I can't tell you. We don't get that information. We just know that they were below 295 points.
I would assume since the full-time secretary is going to deal with the claims, they're going to work with the auditor's office, the weekend's just going to deal with the public facing. Makes sense that there should be some separation between them. That's why I feel better about putting that B count. Because as the current secretaries on their job descriptions, do you know if they're going to deal with claims or do any of that? Is that part of their job description? The current secretary, it is? Okay. All right.
So I guess should you have, and this is just a question. So should you have two different line items, one for weekend secretary, and one for part-time secretary? Or are we getting rid of the weekend?
Full-time secretary.
Full-time secretary and part-time secretary? Okay.
Yeah, I think what Debbie was recommended is we take the 1,000.02 to the full-time position and then create a part-time secretary line item. And then if you put a dollar figure in there, then the park knows exactly whatever the payroll ends up being. I estimated at, what is that, 64 hours a month? It sounds like she's only putting in 45 to 50. So,
Stephanie said she averages 6.5 hours a day.
okay, so she's averaging, 3 hours a week less than I accommodated for. So there's a cushion in there. Scott, so So what we're thinking, oh, I'm sorry.
No, we're good.
Thank you. So is everybody good with changing the 1000.02 on the 1179 to 41,179? Obviously, knowing that we probably will see a wage increase if we pass an increase. And then adding a part-time line with a $13,000 allotment to it. Yeah, we'll need to bump that slightly. So let's see, 13 and 7. We'll have to do perf on the 41.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll need to add $4,700 to the perf. And Social Security, let's see, we did
7.65%.
minus. You'll need to add $560 to the Social Security, because that's the difference between the two. It's about $7,300 difference net. No, sorry, that's wrong. I hit the wrong button. It's 54. Yeah, we'll need to add $1,300 to the retirement, to the Social Security. $1,300 to that. So the net impact to their budget is it increases their levy about $10,000.
But we took the $60,000 group insurance
Yeah, we
out.
did. But I mean,
So it's almost net net.
yeah, actually, they'll still come out.
Did we move the workman's comp?
Yes.
Commissioners?
Mhm. Anything more that you would like to discuss, Tom, on these, or anybody else?
I want to discuss this computer that we took out of planning commission because you weren't here.
No, but you and I talked about it.
Well, I know we did. It was discussed though last hour that Jeff wants everybody under the commissioner's budget, not individual departments, putting in a laptop. So that kind of confirmed what we did. Jeff wanted it there and we increased that because we know there's going to be more replacements. So I'm just having that update with you.
Get there at some point.
Which was our discussion last hour. A rotation of everyone. I don't really know where the green lights is, or the red lights.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break here real quick. Anybody who needs one?
Thank you, Thomas.
I'm good now.
She doesn't know about it. She said she doesn't know anything about it full time. She read it in the paper.
I sent her an email and was gonna call her. I'll find out. what's
I'm just
going
gonna
on.
put this back
What else we have on the schedule?
for a minute.
Community corrections.
Community corrections.
Prosecutor.
Do you know anything about the plane crash?
Yeah, it's a little bit. Looks like it was just like for one, just like.
This is the pilot, the only one.
That looked like how you could put it
It
in.
looked like small, very small. Like, yeah, it looks like. It's not small. It's not bad.
It's gonna be a big one.
I was like, I don't think Tom Lane didn't agree with very often.
No.
I just heard.
This morning, but. The game this morning. I left Sarasota with US, but.
It's the mighty.
There you
There you go, it's above my head.
Okay, so.
No.
All right, so that's where we're at. Okay.
25 million. 543.
Okay.
Hopefully the.
Yeah, then probably wash up then. Is she already, you know?
Good job and looking up and that will work. Because that's the only thing that does.
I know, right? And I did like that.
I don't even. Well.
Just make 31 and 32. Yes.
Maybe it was two days. And why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next year, I go to. Here's. You won't be able to have next year. It has been said, we'll come back next year. So that's why. I mean, they did another thing, I'm not, but, well, here's the thing, they're just. They're just. So. Let's go, that's big, you got it by the marine or. Yes. Here.
This is better.
Thank you.
You're gonna give them about 2/3 of what they have there for 110, and the city's gonna give them about 8.
So we
You didn't do anything for that, they're gonna only give them about 2/3, because they can't. He originally said they couldn't afford it. He didn't think they were. He did.
well, they don't do that.
So we just told where to move in, like, just,
Yeah,
move it out. And I think yeah.
let's have to put it out.
So
Well, you guys think you transfer, I mean, they try to transfer. Do they not?
They would have to sign it.
I was gonna say, I don't wanna make any. Until I talk to the commission.
Yeah, I just want you, he takes back all right, you know that.
But no, we didn't make it. So. So. I was fingers on that. I can. You see? I've been. She's the new person. Cool. Always on camera, it has been a while. Yeah. I'll just keep your next meeting. I'll be so October. I'm not.
People find them. But she preferred the farm meeting, so she has to send.
But you say she's.
No.
President.
Yeah, they're longer than just like.
And I don't think you get vice president. I'm good with that. Oh, my God, yes, bring it here.
Well, that's still. Yeah, I did.
I get it. Because I think it was that, I seen it, I showed that to them. I'm sure.
Yes.
The store. And they're saying that we see what I want there. Yeah, we were, yeah, but you know, like, yeah, we can't just. We were saying the 450. Original funding. Oh, I got it. How long? Yes. I mean, I don't know, she, why, you know, and then, I don't know what you decide on. You have one. Directly go through that. And the council. Some of them that you are being. Oh, yeah, I think it was just an updated schedule, that's what we had coming up with the flying in the conference series and. Well. Oh. Did they put that? Insurance. Is that not right? So yes, at least. Don't run again. Well, yeah. General population. Well, when you consider it's work. There's 4H. I'm assuming now, just so make sure that. These ads here should come with. Okay. I would ask if you look like that. Okay. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. No. Yeah. I got you. I'm trying to. Game look at the constitution. So right now. So right now, it's looking at the number that negates this morning, where we were at. We're doing the alterations we've done, which has not been a lot. We have added with Angela's positions basically. Is the biggest change in this position for the park. We're still sitting at about $143,000, $1,542,000 under the that's already conservative. The conservative projected, which I I like budgeting to that at this point. I'm kind of saying, yeah, but I'll show you the play pattern. That yes, we may have some additionals, and that's what I mentioned to the commissioner, that, you know, they have special needs, the additional appropriations, the probably we're out to go. So I think the big question is gonna be, so if we took every, keep your microphone, the picture up where I should.
I'm sorry, I forgot to hit the button. If we took everybody to 95%, it was 129,000, correct? Shannon? 100, okay, so plus 127 plus the 20%.
Yes, sir.
So there you go. Thank you. Did you do the other ones, Jay? All right, give them to me, man. The 97% is,
55, 255,589,
Yeah.
and 306, 707,
306, 707.
and the 449, 980 is 539,972.
All right, so we're looking at 153,000, 107,000, and 504, 307,000, I'm sorry, 540,000 to take everyone to midpoint. Now that would have to be tweaked slightly because of the new positions we're in, but you're talking minimally at the end of the day, you're talking a couple dollars. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
It's a lot better than I thought. It's a lot better than I thought than when we started on Monday. I didn't think we'd have nearly that available.
So if we took everyone to the midpoint, we're still looking at $1 million. I will tell you, like I said earlier, I could never be willing to, myself personally, only speaking for me, could not vote for a tax increase when we're $1 million under expected revenue. So I think in my mind, if we're that far under expected revenue, maybe we should consider adding a line into this commissioner's budget for EMS of $400,000 or something like that, just as a placeholder to come out of our regular budget in lieu of passing a tax when we're $1 million under expected revenue. Because I mean, we have, in my opinion, we have we have to be very, we have a responsibility to spend the taxpayer dollars properly, and just holding them in the bank and passing more taxes is, in my opinion, is not responsible way of spending taxpayer dollars.
That's what I said last.
I think everybody agreed with that.
So, I mean, I will tell you, when we voted on this a few days ago, we didn't have the luxury of these numbers. So I was at least willing to listen, because the initial thoughts, we were going to be in much, much, much worse shape. Fortunately, we are not in that terrible position that we had anticipated after what passed at the State House. And it, again, it has a lot to do with what this council passed last year was very preemptive. And so we have a different situation, whereas if they had not passed those taxes last year, we'd be in trouble. So
We are we've said we passed more lits last year than any other county. I actually went in and delved in and got information from the state. We were third highest. I don't remember the counties that were highest. One was 36% increase. One was like 25, and we were number 3 out of 92 counties. But when you added the jail tax from 4 years ago or 3 years ago, we're right up there. When we took office, Chad, our lit was, what was it, 1.5?
yeah,
And after last year, it's 2.02. I
had,
think if you go back to the jail tax, we've increased lits more than any of the 92 counties. And there's only 11 counties that have a lower per capita income than Henry County. So we are increasing taxes on a county that only 11 counties have a lower per capita. I know the stat that Shannon used last year was median household income. If you look at family household income, there's only 19 counties lower, and it is different between median household and family. So I just looked at a different statistic, but I looked at it at about 92, only 19 counties are lower in family. Okay. Anyway, I kind of agree with Chad.
Okay.
End of rant.
Okay. Well, I thought he was there for a second. Michael, are you there? Popped up. There he is. Third time's the charm.
Can you hear us now, Mike?
Yeah, I am. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh, nine.
Yep. Number
Thank you.
9.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
You're a
Oh,
little
very good.
quiet, but yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, wonderful.
So I appreciate you coming to meet with us. So like I've told everybody today, this whole time, we're doing this a lot more informally this time. We're not going through line by line by line and line and getting, deep into it. So basically, I'm just kind of toss it to you and let you lead us off and, tell us everything you want to know, and then we can come back with our questions. If that works.
The only changes were that I believe we're asking for a 3% increase for the employees. And then there were no other changes made as to the criminal budget. I just wanted to remind the council in regards to the budgets for child support, I'd asked the council not to change anything. The only change our office made was again the 3% request. But I would ask that there'd be no changes made to that as well, because we receive federal funds, and our federal funding, I believe this year is based on what we did last year, so it could affect our federal funding if there's any changes in regards to the office supplies and miscellaneous expense. But that's all. That was the only thing I wanted to share.
I don't think I have it.
666.
Yeah, so
1 of 32.
I don't even think. Yeah. There it is.
We're trying to find your budgets.
Yeah, I do see that one. I remember looking at it. It's pretty much the exact same. I don't,
3%.
yeah, just the salary increase is basically all that is, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think there's some changes in the longevity, and that's just more people who've met the requirements, who've met the service requirements to be eligible.
Now, you added back the office supplies, postage, travel, equipment, services and repairs, professional dues, conference expense, extradition expense, and miscellaneous 19,000. So your total increase in your 009, 15.2%. Can you go through just the rationale for that?
Well, the county council doesn't fund that. They haven't funded those funds, those requests. At least since I've been prosecutor. The rationale is I think it's pretty easy to understand. I mean, we need office supplies to run the office.
Right.
I mean,
Do you run in the red and don't have,
we have other funds, but I don't.
I think that's why we've exited.
502.
The 2502, all that's always been switched over to the pretrial diversion
Yes,
account every
we have
year.
other funds to do it, but
That account's still in a very healthy position. I know through your predecessor and I believe you last year, that account was still in a very healthy position.
19,000 this year.
yes.
Yeah, and
There's still funds there that will be able to fund that, but
so would you have a concern if we did the SOP and switch those to that fund again this year?
a concern, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say I have a concern, though.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Michael.
I wouldn't say I'd have a concern with that. We're going to be able to
Okay.
get through the next year.
Yeah, Debbie says you have a balance of 290,000 in that fund.
Yes.
Okay. So what's the council's pleasure?
Well, given that balance, I guess I would not have a concern as I would if they didn't have that kind of balance.
I mean, Michael, several of our departments do the exact same thing. And honestly, that's what helps us free up to be able to do the raises and all those other things for everyone. If those perpetuation type funds, those non-reverting funds that all these counties, the departments have in the county, that helps us with those office supply type things. Is there anything, I know equipment maintenance is the big dollar figure. Is there anything major there? It's like 13,000, but that's what it's been historically. And last year you spent nothing. This year you've only spent 1,400. Is there any major thing coming up we should be aware about, or is that just kind of the number that's been in there?
That's just the number we've had in there in case something comes up. But like I
Okay.
said, like you mentioned, that's usually used, again, that's from the non-reverting funds.
Yeah. So what's the council's pleasure on that? What's everybody else want to do? That totals $29,520.
I'd be in favor of removing it again.
Okay, I have. Kennan says yes.
It's not a hill I'm gonna die on because I have something else to bring up with the prosecutor's office, so.
So it's 13,000 to non-reverting.
No, it's $29,520 total for all of those lines.
Okay.
But
I
from
was-
the office supplies, from 14
Got it.
down to the $3,000 in extradition expense.
My question was miscellaneous. It's 19,000.
Oh, I mean, 19,000. I did not see that one at the bottom. Yep, the 19,000 as well. So that's, yeah, so it's $48,520. That being said, his total expenses in the, not in the pretrial diversion account last year was $31,000, his total spend.
Still don't have a problem.
So Scott's okay. Okay, we have enough here to say, okay, so we're going to zero all of those out. Again, Michael, and again, in the future, if there's something special that comes out like that, then by all means, make sure we're aware of that. And
All righty. Well, I appreciate your time today. Did anyone have any questions?
I think
for
Bobby,
me?
Yeah, I do have, hang on, Michael, I do have something. So, I've been doing a little bit of research because it kind of frightened me a little bit. I believe it was Kokomo, wasn't it, Michael, that they had to release someone on charges because they didn't have the prosecuting staff to prosecute? Was that
Yes,
Kokomo? So I've been
Howard
doing a little
County, yes.
research. I'm sorry, please.
It was
Craig County.
Howard County, yeah.
Howard County, excuse me, yes.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a little bit of research and there is an analysis that is done every year and the one that came out in 2025 actually shows that Henry County is short 3 prosecutors. So again, like we talked about with EMA and some of the others, we need to start forward looking of increasing potentially more prosecutors in the prosecutor's office. More prosecutors you have, the quicker things go through the courts, the less people stay in jail. Am I right, Michael? On the roughly three.
I mean, you brought up a couple points. I could address the fact that I'm aware of the study you mentioned that we are short prosecutors according to that study, yes. Any more prosecutors you had, that would increase our availability for the courts as we were ordered to do so.
Yeah.
How are you
Um,
doing with your current staff? And you contract some out, correct?
No.
No.
No, we don't contract. Our Henry County, we are very fortunate. I wouldn't say fortunate, but the state takes on a great deal of our prosecutor's office, the criminal division of how our office is funded. Due to the location of the prison, we have what are called prison deputies, which when you have a certain when you have a prison in your county, you're able to the state will fund deputy prosecutors for your office, and due to the amount of inmates at the Newcastle Correctional Facility, we have the state funds for every county prosecutor's office. The state funds the prosecuting attorney and the chief deputy prosecutor, but we also have 2 additional deputy prosecutors. So, so we're fortunate in that way, and the county council with the finances, that helps a great deal. That essentially 4 of our staff are paid for by the state, and due to the location of the prison 2 is due to the 2 of those. We could always use more people. I would say that.
So
We
I
could
just
use
wanted to
more
put that,
people, and we'd have to have competitive salaries as in terms of what's going on in the county. I think the changes that the county made last summer, and they did increase some of the deputy prosecutors' salaries. So with that, it did bring it line into how competitive it is, or I guess the competitiveness of our salaries that are being offered with the surrounding counties.
and I'd bring that up again, just like I did with EMA, and that we need to start looking at increasing based upon that analysis. And the analysis is pretty detailed. It goes into caseloads per, I think, prosecutor. I mean, it's a pretty detailed analysis. But I want to put that on the radar that based upon this analysis, our prosecutor's office is down or below. I think it was like 10 and we have 7. It's 7, correct, Michael?
That's
You have
that,
7?
yes. I'd be happy. I don't have that. I don't have the study right in front of me, but I have it on my computer. Anyone who wanted to take some individual time to discuss that, I'd be glad to do that with you.
Yeah. So just putting it out there that that's another area that we really are needing to start to look at. I know that we've been working on other areas and departments and getting them fully staffed, and this is one that also is understaffed. And with that, I will shut up. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. I thank everyone for your time today. I'm going to be exiting now. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Have a great day.
You too.
Oh, it's public.
It's public defenders, yes, the country, yeah.
Well, when you guys get 71 years old, you'll have that same body issue.
71. I don't know if I want
COVID didn't help
71.
any either. One more time.
Are you ready? Sure. You sure? We're a Wiley bunch. You never know. We was gonna say, we don't have a budget for you, so there's no need to look. There's no need to look.
What's
It
that?
says
huh?
it on here somewhere. Okay, I got it.
State did hurt.
Yeah. I'm just going through and making sure we did all these and we've talked about them all. All right, so we don't have but we don't do your budget because we know your budget's all done through grants and all those things. I do know that last year, the council picked up some of the raises in the council budget to accommodate for you. More than likely, I understand you guys, the grants were not nice to you this year either. So to put it politely, I'm trying to behave myself. We're on camera here. So I would assume we have not completely talked about raises, but we have talked about it somewhat. And so, the floor is yours. You tell us whatever you'd like to, and then we'll jump in where we need to. So we don't really have anything to go through for you, but we want to give you all the time you'd like.
Okay. Basically, most of what you said is true. When we decided to pass out, or you guys awarded raises in the county, what was that, fall of 2024? You know, I expressed my concern then about our ability to maintain, keep those, but I had hoped, that I would be able to pick those up if you helped me along the way. 24 went by, 25 went by. That was, my understanding that, the council would fund the, raises for that extent of time. I had worked through my budget and was trying to pick up most of that, is what I had, presented to Department of Corrections in order to take that back under my wing. Department of Correction, when they went to the state budget, they took a $7 million, cut. When it came down to how that dwindled down for community corrections, we took a $65,148 is what they cut our budget this year. What you guys give me each year, or have given me since that award, is $60,912. So I'm just asking that you continue that, for this next year, and hopefully,
We have in our budget already put in $72,007.
We have that down for next year.
We have that in the council budget for community corrections pay.
okay, I'm gonna double check my numbers then.
So we
Okay,
probably
if there is a
accommodate.
raise, I'm not aware.
We haven't completely, there isn't one. There's been some discussion, but nothing in stone.
Okay.
But we Debbie does our budget for us, and
Uh-huh.
so I'm assuming you bumped that a little bit just to accommodate for any potential raises.
Okay,
So,
3%.
but that would be my only request.
but it actually is the number from last year, but they've only spent 25 of it this year. So your number seems,
That because I didn't know what the rate was.
your number seems more appropriate, but I think bottom line, I think you're covered. I
Okay,
think we've got you.
that's all I need. I'm not asking for a bunch. We're just trying to maintain until hopefully Department of Correction can, lobby to get funds back. And then hopefully there'll come a point in time I can pull some of that back.
Hopefully the State House gets,
That's my
and I'm being nice,
goal every year.
gets it figured out.
That's all I have.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything for Joni?
No, I just
I
wanted to report that Joni and I are one of the probably 3 people in the county that our preferred drink is Diet Mountain Dew. Let the record show.
Yes.
I appreciate everything you do. I know your job's been tough, especially lately. So thank you very much. I know
Thank you.
it's not an easy job, but we're here for you. Whatever we can do, let us know. Okay?
I appreciate that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
She didn't have to travel very far to get.
Nope, she's just right down the street. So with adjusting the prosecutor's budget, that now puts us at just over $1.59 million.
I'm gonna adjust everything else we talked about.
That's after every adjustment we did, we are currently sitting $1.5 million under expected revenue from Baker Tilly. Is where I have it.
I just,
After removing all of the pay scale from last year and dropping everybody. Yes. Yes, I mean, and that's why I'm just giving generalized numbers. I wouldn't want to budget I wouldn't want to budget 1.6 right now. Just to, I think we should build in a slight amount of cushion because this, anytime you're dealing with $19 million, there's got to be some rounding error number thrown in the mix.
Put it in, the other one had to check it, so.
Yep,
So
but
what are you talking about? 10%
no,
plus or minus 10%? Hopefully 1%.
yeah, it should be a small number, but I mean, fortunately. Okay, so I think the big discussion points left are what I mentioned a little bit ago, Mike, and I'm sorry, we'll catch you up anytime you want, but I think Shannon's caught you some things up, but so we've got that 1.59 million roughly in under estimated revenue. We have not set any dollar figure for raises. To take, Jay did the math for us, and to take us to 95% of midpoint, it's $153,000 raise. This does include the perf and the additional, any social security taxes that will have to be withheld. 307,000 to take everybody to 97%, and 540,000 to take everyone to 100% of midpoint, which is the average. On top of that, the other thing that that I mentioned is I certainly would have a very, very hard time voting personally for a tax increase when we're $1.5 million under our expected revenue this year. Because I personally feel like we've got to be very good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and bringing in more money just to put more money in the savings accounts does not seem like being good stewards. That was what I said. And I think the only other thought was to put in a line item in the commissioner's budget for EMS then, because what you did you share this with him, Shannon? Yeah, okay. Perfect. So, the commissioners met with the mayor of the city of Newcastle this morning. We currently fund $300,000. So just on the Newcastle side was $590,000 difference. I threw out a number of $400,000 to put in the budget as a number for the commissioner's budget, which would more than cover this, and then leave some accommodation if they decide to do something different with the other entities as well. Anyone like to add any additional information to help Mike get caught up?
Chad, will you talk to him about what we did with the group insurance?
Okay, sure. So in the health department, and the park department, since they are levy departments, and basically we give them money out of the levy and they just turn around and give it right back to us, which doesn't logically make a lot of sense. We just remove those line items from their budget. And we increase the commissioner's budget to accommodate. So we will have to, when we adopt our budget, we will alter the levy amount. So on paper, it looks like they're getting less, but on the expense side, they're getting the less. With the exception of both departments, we added employees. We opted to add at the recommendation of the auditor's office, we added a full-time secretary to the park and took out a big chunk of their part-time and added a full-time secretary. And then to the health department, we allowed Angela to retain 2 of the employees that she was going to have to terminate or reduce because of the cuts from Health First. So one was a supervisor director position, the other was a nurse position. We also moved $33,000 from her Health First account over to the standard health fund from the levy, because the Health First account was stretched as far as it could stretch. And so there would be no room to do any changes if we did increases in wages or anything. So we technically added 3 employees to the county. The other thing we did is, and I think we all agreed to this. I don't know that we've taken an actual agreement. I guess we haven't completely agreed then. I made the recommendation on Monday. You were here about to take the $500,000 and put it in the commissioner's budget. Debbie recommended it would be much cleaner to zero out the health insurance on the highway department and then add a line item and for there to do their additional repairs for bridges and take that same 470,000 and just create it. So it would be a net sum zero to their budget, and it just reduces our overall collections into the health insurance fund, which is in a very solid position. We haven't completely decided on that. That was, we talked about doing something I think most people were in agreement doing, but we haven't completely made the consensus to do that exactly yet. But so that's something we have to qualify. So I guess we can take that up now. I mean, what's the opinion of the body to do that?
We all agree with that. We just haven't formally.
We haven't
all
formally made that
said,
decision.
yes, we all agree.
Yeah,
So
I think we just need.
formally, yes.
Yes.
Okay, yes,
Yes.
yes,
This is zeroing
yes,
out the-
yes. I think you can
Highways.
formally do it now.
Yep, so then put it on the bridge.
Yes, the health insurance for highway department.
Creating a line.
Yeah,
for
we'll
bridges.
zero out the health insurance line, move that exact dollar, that 470 and change over to a call it bridges and culverts, I guess, just to cover ourselves. No, no. Just wipe it out and then move that to the bridges and culverts line. So you won't really be changing. The only thing we're doing is reducing the amount we're putting in the health fund next year. No, we're gonna
No,
keep,
that
we're gonna
gets-
keep it in the highway. We're gonna keep everything in the highway. Yeah, we're gonna keep everything in the highway budget. So that way it's easier for you guys. And that's what you recommended earlier, right, Debbie? Okay, that's,
Because then we would, yeah, it would be a lot easier.
okay, just that, so yeah, that's what Debbie recommended earlier. So,
I'm just moving this back.
okay, I wanted to wait on you if you were,
Nope. you're
so,
good.
okay. So. So, okay, that's done. So then the next question I guess we need to bring up is what's everyone's thoughts on raises? So we're still, like I said, we're at 5.9 million or 1.59 million, sorry, $1.59 million. And that takes Debbie's number she gave us this morning, plus adding the additional positions from the park and the highway, the health department, sorry, park and the health department. And then we removed about 48,000. I'm not sure if you were here for the prosecutor, if you saw all that. We removed 48,000 out of the prosecutor. So that came up to just about $200,000 in removals. We only added 162. So we're,
Before we jump on to salaries, we had a little discussion earlier, I know. And I think the auditor's office brought this up the other day. That leaves us with one department that is contributing out of their fund for medical insurance. We've taken it away from the highway. And I know that's a one-time thing that Chad's recommending, and we've removed it from health and we've removed it from the park. That leaves the 911 budget, the only budget contributing out of their budget.
We haven't taken it out of theirs.
We haven't, and I would like to just pay it all out of the commissioners and remove that out of their budget. That'll prevent us from having to address any potential tax increases in PSAP before 2027, when all the lit taxes go crazy and belly up. And I think that puts all of the departments on a level playing field. The group insurance, the 190, and if everybody agrees with us, with me,
Do I need to add another 190?
well, we
Well, we
haven't have consensus yet.
my only, like I said, the highway, and this is my thoughts on the highway department was a one-time shot and we're going to add it back in next year more than likely. Are we going to do the same thing with 911? Because in the highway department, the reason I threw it out there to do that is because they have a special project. They need help. They need these bridges. We can't continue to do that because that's, that's $600,000, $700,000. I mean, we can't continually do that. This
We
was a
can't not
one-time.
continue to pull it out and not put it somewhere else.
Exactly. This was a one-time shot in the arm. Our expected revenue from Baker Tilly next year expects to drop even further when our dollar figures increase. And again, PSAP has they have a comfortable balance where the highway department is nearly going in the red according to the Baker Tilly. So that's why I understand the reasoning of trying to make everybody the same, but I don't think they're the same because they don't have the same set of circumstances.
Plus, they're not going to get community corrections. They've been getting $1 million here.
Community
and $1 million
crossings.
Community crossings.
Yeah.
Like I said, 71.
So, but yeah, so that's where I see them differently in that the health department and the park department only makes sense because we literally took it out of one pocket and put it in the other and then put it right back in the first one. It kind of made no sense to be doing it the way we were doing it. And the highway department might, since I'm the one that threw that out there, the reason I threw it out there was just to try to give them that shot in the arm. And everyone heard me tell them on Monday, this is probably a one-time deal. This is not going to continue. So,
Well, if it continues into 27, then so be it. I mean, we're talking 1 year before the whole tax world gets flipped on its head and we got to realign everything anyway. So that's my reasoning, is put it all in one And if we got, you guys, we can address it again next year, that's fine. But this treats all the departments the same, and I guess I would like to have everybody else's opinion.
Well, here's my concern because of the lits. When you pull it out and then something else is spent, it's hard to put it back because you replace it with one.
But it's going away in 27.
I understand that supposedly, nobody knows, you know, yeah, you still have to allocate that money, you know.
Yeah.
It's for 911 only. The money coming from the PSAP lids for 911 only.
Yeah, but it's not going away, it is, you're gonna have to
It's gonna be
redo
in
it.
our control.
Right, I understand that, but it just, I don't know.
It all goes to
I
county
see-
general.
I see where you're coming from. You're not making a bad point, but if you, what do we have? Do we have medical and stuff in the public safety?
And community corrections cases are insurance.
Uh-huh, so. So what's in the public safety? Mm-hmm,
None.
none?
No, not public.
Oh, sorry, okay, thank you.
So, I mean, and like I said, looking at the Baker Tilly report, we had a balanced budget this year to start with Baker Tilly. They estimate in 27, we're gonna have a shortfall of $800,000.
Mm-hmm,
So that's why I wanted, no, overall general fund budget. So that's why I made sure that, like I said, when I recommended that thing for the highway, that it's just a shot in the arm. It's not an ongoing endeavor, because I don't think it can be. As much as I would like to say it could be, I don't think it can be. Looking at the numbers we're projecting out. Now, maybe 28 brings a different story. I don't know, but because no one really knows what the numbers, because the numbers in 28, it looks like we have a significant shortfall right now, but we have a significant increase in revenue, so that no one knows what it's really going to run out
I
to.
will say that when it comes to community crossings, the law does change. The next 2 years, the advantages are for urban areas. But in 2028, the advantage actually goes to back to the rural areas. So we're talking about 2 years where he's likely, very likely, not going to get community crossings. After that, after Shannon and I leave, it's going to be probably a much better situation for him because there's a certain amount that is going to go from Marion County and the urban areas, and the emphasis is going to be back on the rural areas, which will be a big plus for them. But in the interim, I think your 500,000 or 470,000 boost is going to be important to get these roads back open. He could spend $10 million on the,
And then what do you think about moving the 190,000 out of 911 PSAP?
I think it's 6 to 1, half dozen the other. I don't have a firm, we should do one or the other. I really don't.
We need 4 of us. So Mike, do you have an opinion? I know Bobby and I seem to be, now we'd rather leave it alone. Shannon would like to.
The way I understand it, if I understand it correctly, is that it's still going to be budgeted just out of a different
It
area.
would be budgeted out of commissioners instead of PSAP.
I'd be for that. I mean, the money's still there and it's still going to be.
Well, but it's a different fund. So the PSAP is their own tax rate,
Mhm.
but you're moving it to the general fund, which is a totally different fund. That's the difference. So the money is still spent in both places. It's just one is held in this fund and now we're so we would basically, out of this 1.59 million, we would be taking it to 1.4 million.
190.
We would be reducing the amount, but we would still be leaving the 190,000. Am I correct? Everybody agree that that sounds correct?
Yeah.
We would be reducing our $1.5 million
Correct.
number, but we would still be leaving the 190,000 in the PSAP.
I'd be for that.
Say that again?
The 190,000 would still be left in the revenue would still be left in the PSAP, but the expense would just be moved to the
Okay,
1.4.
just making sure we're talking revenue.
1.59. That's what those two would like. You and I are on a different page. These 3 have to vote on it.
I understand, I don't know, I truly don't know where my logic says when you take something away and it gets replaced with something else, then it's hard to put it back.
That's the hardest
my
problem,
logic.
because we may have to add it back next year.
Then we have to add it back. That gives them, if you guys recall, when Brian True was in here on Monday, we talked about them being able to get over the hump and having enough dollars to get training and doing those things done. Well, he can't do some of that because he's limited by the dollars in the public safety lit. And this would treat him just the same as all the other departments, put the medical insurance in with the commissioner's budget, and he would have those dollars to try and get him over the hump before all the tax changes hit us in 2027.
That was going to be my point that I was going to bring up, kind of as if we're talking about the bridge and culvert money or going back to the county highway. And Brian True's comments about needing to get over the hump, whether it's in hiring or he mentioned the need for the new servers for the Spillman system. I think that replacing those servers, he was talking about doing that in a 3-year step. Maybe if he could do that at once, that would be, in Chad's terminology, a shot in the arm to get that taken care of. Trust me, I've been through a time period when Spillman was down, and that was a nightmare for law enforcement locally, because that's our jail package and our dispatch package and our reporting system package. When we lost that server and the fact that it was down and wasn't redundant at that time, that was a nightmare for us. And that would help him take care of that issue.
So
Well,
are you
the only-
suggesting to move it?
I'm
Out of
The
suggesting
the only
that-
other, I want to share the reasoning I have is.
One-time shot.
Is the PSAP account estimated at the end of next year will have over a 25% reserve, $330,000. The highway department will have a 10% in the red next year. That's the difference in that's my reasoning and give it, so Brian.
There's a
technically
difference in
could have the
budget and
300
technique
and-
there.
He could have the 300, he could ask for an additional appropriation out of that $330,000 to buy that server if he needed to be. But, if, that's, whereas the highway department is going to be in the red, they don't have the ability to ask for that. So that's where I think that's how I make the separation a little bit easier for me. But I understand it's a fairness factor.
All valid
And
points.
it's a fairness factor, and I totally get that, but that's why it's hard to compare apples and oranges.
Well,
You
you
know,
take,
that's where I'm at.
well, you take a breath.
Sure.
911, it does have the enhanced 911 budget as well as the PSAP. So he does have, and he's got $517,000 in that pays mostly salaries. So he's got that plus the PSAP. So I'm on the fence. But I will go on record and make sure this gets in the minutes. I agree with Bobby.
What did I say?
Well, I mean, her original vote and Chad's original
Well-
vote, I side with them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm on the fence too, because I want to give everybody, give them a one-time shot. I'm just not sure that I guess the council controls that,
I asked Scott if he had a coin.
my fear is that money then gets appropriated somewhere else and we never put it back. And then all of a sudden, everybody else's budget and the commissioner's budget and the insurance fund is crap again.
That's on us to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll only throw this thought out too. Personally, I would rather give the employees a raise than I would to build up the PSAP. Since it
That was,
already has a
my
solid
suggestion was
figure.
not in lieu of a raise, so.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
No,
that,
I don't
that's,
think taking that out would cause not raises to happen.
no, but I mean, it definitely
all.
impacts the overall.
Yeah, but I don't think that any.
Whether we give it at 95 or midpoint, I mean, it could impact, I mean, it's more than the difference between 97 and the midpoint. It's that difference. I would rather give everybody midpoint than give everybody 97 and build up the PSAP. That's my personal opinion.
Scott, you knew you were getting hot seat sooner or later.
That's why you gotta talk
So,
early, Scott.
We're suggesting to take 190 out of the PSAP one time. So that's gonna help Brian's budget. He was having trouble finding people. I'm good with that. I think 3 departments are struggling or will be struggling with employees. Brian's highway department said he couldn't hire anybody. Sheriff's department's afraid of losing people. One-time shots to help these 3 departments in any way we can is definitely worth it.
But in all of their cases, they have
That's
open
4 of us,
positions
though.
to hire. Well, we've got the 3, I don't think, Jay, have you made an official?
Yeah, he's the one, he's the one that said he's ready for the one shot.
So you're good with the one shot?
Jay, Scott, Mike and I.
That's- yeah.
Consensus to move it, one shot. I'll go with one shot and we talk about it again next year.
One shot.
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
I'll go aboard. It's not that I'm against it and it's not
I
that I'm
understand.
for it. I'm just kind of,
It's up to
I
us
see both sides.
to make
and
damn sure we
so,
don't miss it
We
next
just have to
year.
make sure that that does not somewhere in.
No, I
public
just want him to
safety
tell
is-
me how he's planning to spend it, because I will ask for that. Because
Explain what?
we need to understand what he's planning to spend it on, because we'll have to do an additional for that and put it in a line item, because I don't even know what line item to put it in. That's the thing with the bridges, we know exactly where to put it. With his 190, where are we going to put the line item? What's your recommendation? Because we have to
I'm
create,
not- I'm not
we have to create a line item in this budget for Debbie to turn in. So we need to have a direction to do that.
How about reclassification?
Yeah,
I don't know, can we put a reclassification line item in the, no, in the PSAP? Can we put a reclassification line item in the PSAP, Debbie?
You
Is-
can put anything in the PSAP because it's just a wash. You take it out and put it back in, so you're not increasing it.
But won't we have to add it to some line item, or is he gonna have to do a transfer?
No, you can add it and then you adopt it. You're just, the only thing you've advertised is what they asked, but once you adopt, you can move it and create a line item before you adopt it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. What I'm saying is if we zero out the $190,000 in his budget, we have to add it back in somewhere, right? Or just leave it there? Just leave it as an under and he'll have to do an additional appropriation. Okay, so that's probably the best case scenario, because like I said,
And
with
he
the
has to
highway,
come
we
back
had
and tell us how
somewhere to
he's gonna
put it.
spend
With
it.
this, we don't have anywhere to put it.
I'm good with that.
So we just have to zero it out and leave it as an additional appropriation. Okay.
Let him come back and tell us what he.
So now do we need to do community corrections too, since they're the only ones left that pay health department? And
We don't see their budget, so I don't know what they're paying.
You're paying 98,000.
I don't want, I,
648.
here's my thing. I don't
Where'd
want to
that
mess
come
with
from?
hers because I'm worried how it will affect her grant.
Yeah.
oh yeah, because it'll lower, yeah.
I
Don't
do
wanna
not
screw
want to
that
mess
up.
with hers because I'm worried how it could affect her
Because
grant.
they're
she's
funded through the
100%
state and through
funded.
grants mostly,
Yeah.
so.
So it's,
You don't wanna mess that
I
up.
really do not want to mess with hers. But again, now we've got one department that doesn't do it that way.
Right, but we picked up $77,000 or $72,000 of
I
their
get it.
salaries in ours. So it's, again, one pocket, taking it out of one, putting it in the other. I'm fine leaving it as is. I don't want to mess with her.
Yeah, I
grants
would
either.
prefer not to mess with hers just because I don't want to mess with any of her budget issues. Budget, with her grant concerns.
That we got to worry about.
Okay, so that brings our available difference down to 1.4 million. Is where we're at now.
Well, for sustainability and looking at the, things may be dropping and things may, I know everybody keeps saying that the state's going to make changes and I'm not disparaging anybody at the state house or any governor or anything, but nobody knows if it's going to be for the better or for the worse. It could go either way. I look at raises of doing 97% of mid.
Yeah,
I'd like to see us get everybody to 100% of midpoint.
I'm kind of leaning with Shannon on this one because that way we get there, because if we take it, honestly, if we take it to 97, there are employees that aren't going to see raises this year. And there are other things, I mean, so, just because there were such differences last year and some things, but I mean, I think trying to you guys did a really good job of getting everybody up there last year, but keep in mind, even taking everybody to midpoint, you're still a year, but you're midpoint 2025 year. You're not midpoint 2026 year. And so we're still a year behind in that. And so, and
Well,
we
the good
have
news
the
is that
revenue.
I will be out of here in 2026, so if it goes south, it's not my problem.
Well, you get reelected.
I do what?
You're gonna get reelected.
So external midpoint or external midpoint high?
Just external midpoint, not high.
Okay.
He
Oh, I
fig-
thought he was suggesting
No, no.
something.
No, no, no.
Okay, all right.
External midpoint is what I'm suggesting. That would take everybody to this year's average wages across. So, and this is calculated for everybody out there. This is calculated based on counties that are comparable to the wages of other counties. So we would basically be bringing everybody in 2026 to the average of what all of us counties pay in 2025.
I'm okay going to full midpoint. Full midpoint.
So the difference between the two is basically 239,000, or 232,000, sorry. 232,000. And then,
I'm looking up something.
okay, Jay, do you have a thought?
Help us retain people.
Just say it. You're in favor.
Take the mic, please.
I do have a thought, maybe secondary to this. Have we done any action on this?
No, I brought that as a suggestion, but we haven't done any action on it yet.
Okay,
That's next.
so
Because right now we have 1.4 million. So let's say we take everybody let's go the high number, then we still have basically $900,000 to act on that if we decide to do that. Little under 860,000.
with the midpoint.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with midpoint. I think it would help us retain employees and attract others to come in. So I'm favorable for it.
Well, what do we do with the chief deputies that are well above midpoint, like?
The chief deputies were set at 90% of what their elected official was paid. And I'm looking at the Wagner Irwin Shealy report right now. And the midpoint there's only one elected official whose midpoint is actually higher than what they're being paid. And that elected department head is sitting in this room.
Yeah.
And that midpoint would be $1,316.18 increase. And her chief deputy would get 90% of that,
Would get what?
90% of that. Yeah,
Well, that's consistent with what we've done.
it's consistent. The other ones are paid above midpoint already, which means they would not get a change.
Okay, that would be GIS and
Correct.
GIS.
Anybody that's above would not get a change.
Okay, that's consistent with what we decided last year. I would be in favor of midpoint, given your explanation.
Okay, so Shannon, are you going to be able to provide I know you've done that.
No
Have
need to.
everything.
That's
Debbie's
direct
got
off the
everything.
Wagner Irwin Shealy report.
So you understand.
What we'll have to do is Anne's gonna have to come sit down with me. Because we're gonna have to go through to say what a technical service SVRO administrator is, who's all paid out of correctional line. So Anne's gonna have to come and sit down with me to go all of to go through the sheriff and the jail, since they're also lumped together. So Anne is gonna have to sit down with me on that. You want this?
And you can hand it back to her because I'm gonna ask her a question. Would it be just as easy at that point in time to create individual line items for some of them, like we do in other departments? So
It might be easier to do that. Well, I mean, we just run into so much of, we don't know who's paid from what.
right.
It's kind of same way with the park. You have general labor.
If we could.
Everybody's grouped into general labor at the park.
Yeah, if we could group them, then that's your discretion, Debbie. But if we could group them, it would be a whole lot easier for next time.
Okay.
I think, oh gosh, kidding, okay.
Well, there it is.
We
You're gonna get the
probably, as a council,
bug.
even beyond our all terms, will probably keep on with the Wagner or Shealy report.
We've
And
used.
go
Wagner.
to midpoint instead of just like a 3% raise. So I think what you're saying would help the future auditor and everybody else. Yeah, sorry, Debbie, it's a lot of work. I know.
At least we're not
But
doing it in September.
We appreciate you and you're awesome.
We said that with one time.
It'll help in the future a lot.
Okay, so there's a couple other things. One, Jay brought up is the EMS. The other, I think we need to talk about part-time to see, are you wanting to do any raise at all with part-time employees?
The Wagner Irwin Shealy report last year said that a part-time employee doing the same thing as a full-time employee should be paid the hourly wage. And that's what we suggested, but we left it to the department heads to pay less than that if that's what they chose. And we've had a few that did that $14 and $18 deal at the park was one that came out of that. So that's what Wagner and
Do we
Shealy
need to build
recommended. That's what I
anything
would.
into the budget?
Yeah, Debbie they'll have to build a budget for all the part-times.
So what do we recommend her raising all of the part-time?
She's gonna
Because
have,
this is, you said this was a roughly a 3.5% or giving it across the board?
across the board, it was, it was 4% roughly
full-
to get to 97%.
Okay.
To get to the full midpoint. Hold on, let me.
How is
try to
this
make
less
it-
than what was advertised at the state then? If we put in 3% and we're
Some
looking
put
at,
in more and we've cut others things, so.
It's about
cut that
6.5.
Yeah.
Is between 6 and 6.5% on average.
So we're gonna need, so Debbie's going to need to go in and raise all of the part-time budgets by,
What I'll have to do is get hold of department heads, if you're gonna do it the same way,
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna do it the same way as to let them determine it, then they're gonna have to come back to me and tell me how much they need to add in the part-time.
Right.
so what do
agreed.
we, how much do we pay total payroll in part-time roughly?
Idea. don't
I know it's a very, very small number comparatively to the others.
Justify.
Yeah.
some start out at
Jail's now got
$9
additional
when
line
we first
items that
started.
you're putting in that will help.
Yeah, sorry.
And that
When we
one,
first started, some were getting
will
$9
not-
an hour.
that
Nothing.
that
Yeah, they
control
were
room
cutting down
attendants
trees
will
and
not
bark
have
And
any.
we went up to
$20 an hour.
$12.50 as a
Or I
minimum,
guess
but we left
ask
it up
the
to the department
Sure,
heads.
yeah.
But you think those two are where those are?
That's where a lot of their part-times are, and they're splitting them out helps us with that.
Okay. So do you anticipate a huge dollar figure from that? What would you say, $100,000 comfortably or less? Less than 100,000. So let's make it 100,000 since Shannon, so that still leaves us $760,000 under expected revenue. So now Jay, your thoughts on the EMS? That's where we're.
My thoughts are that, as we put that back into the line, I know there's already, I think, 300,000 in the commissioner's EMS.
Yeah.
Or in public safety.
In the EMS lit is where it's at, yeah.
Oh, that's
Um,
right, the EMS lit, sorry.
EMS lit. I think that we need to look at, I mean, this estimate says 590. And I understand that that's just an estimate, maybe allow them a little wiggle room, as I've heard described, and take it up to 4.5, add an additional $450,000 into the EMS line or into the commissioner's budget, so that they've got that to add to the EMS lit.
I threw out 400. I wouldn't be adverse from going to 450, but
And that gives them wiggle room for if they decide to do anything with Middletown and.
well,
Shirley.
the reason I came up with 400, because I believe in that report you had, Shirley had 10,000 and Middletown had 100. And so I added the 290 plus the 10 plus the 100 got us to the 400. That's how I got that number, just to make sense. If I remember correctly, those are the numbers that I remembered. That's how I got to the 400.
Well, Henry, there was a. You're right.
The additional for EMS added to the commissioner's budget.
On top of the 300.
And the 300 is in the EMS lit.
Yeah, I'm in favor of adding the 400 into the commissioner's budget.
So Henry County EMS. Yeah, 25, 100, and then Henry County EMS was 250.
I didn't put anything in there for her because she said their department was doing good and had a budget balance and things, so I was, and had the equipment she needed, so I didn't accommodate for that one.
I,
And just, we'll have to add a line, Ken, and there's no line. We'll have to create one.
mhm. Yeah, Steve negotiated that down from 650 to 590.
Was my numbers on? It was 100 for Middletown and 10 for Shirley?
25.
Oh, 25 for Shirley. Okay, I had 10, but so I've been remembered incorrectly, sorry. I'm only 49 though, so. I
So
have an
we're
excuse.
suggesting 400 in commissioner's budget for EMS, which could be paid to Newcastle, Middletown, or Shirley
Or Shirley, yeah.
at their discretion.
I'm fine with at their discretion. Is that amenable to everyone? To be paid to Middletown, Shirley, or Newcastle at their discretion?
There being Newcastle.
Everybody else money, but we go Henry County, you guys
We'll
said.
just say their discretion.
Yes.
Newcastle. Doesn't care for our department.
No, no,
Oh,
no.
I
at
agree,
the
the volunteer fire
commissioner's
department should have got
discretion.
something, but you know,
We could-
I
we could-
do have a problem of funding Newcastle and Middletown and Shirley and telling Henry County EMS you'd get no additional, but
Well, I only say that, Bobby, because she's the one that said they were doing good and she had everything she needed and she didn't need more money for, we even talked about equipment and other things. And beyond
but
that,
if you remember, that was before we had the EMS lit discussion that night. So that's my opinion. I'm not defending it. I'm not arguing about it. That's just my opinion.
okay, so we have for 400,
Before we.
400 for
Well,
Middletown, Shirley and
I-
Newcastle.
One little bit of discussion, and it may be way out of line, but I'm the newbie, so you get crazy
Go
ideas.
for it.
I really think some of those volunteer fire departments could have used a little more money. I don't think it would have happened Monday night with them adjourning before we were even done talking. On this line item, can we say that 400 can be used for EMS to pay Newcastle, Middletown, Shirley, or a volunteer fire department?
So
Can of worms.
I
Well-
think,
If I go any further, I think I made a mistake. I'm not sure that I put in this, when I did my estimate, I didn't put in 4 offices that did not get nurses.
Oh, that's right, because there was 4 that didn't.
so that's why this seems so much lower than I anticipated.
So that's my fault. I was hurrying trying to do it.
Yeah. So why don't we table the discussion of raises until Debbie can get final numbers and we can,
So we need to roll back all of these things then,
yeah,
because including the PSAP, including all of these,
Yep.
because we may not
Let
be,
me go, let us go through and not put raises in, do all the changes.
so we know what
And
the,
then, and you should know by the person, I'm the person that's.
yeah,
Because I'm not gonna hurry to do it, to try and get it to you
No.
guys
Right.
right.
Friday or Monday,
That's fine.
Because that's why I'm gonna mess something.
Yep, that's okay.
Yeah, you're trying to get it all done very quickly and, yeah. Right.
Why, is he leaving?
and it's unrealistic of us to ask you to do something like that in a
Right.
24-hour period. Seriously.
Okay.
so let me ask you, could we put together a meeting then for next Friday afternoon?
A week from Friday?
A week from Friday, the 8th.
The only thing on the 8th is that, at 8:30 is the, right.
The groundbreaking down
Yeah,
here.
the groundbreaking.
That's at 8.
Yeah, that's at 8:30.
Yep.
That's the only thing going on next Friday.
That's all. I don't have anything.
And I have meetings in the morning. I was just hoping could we do it in like 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Would that, I would think, what can you do? 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Bobby, would that work for you? Jay, Scott,
Yep.
Kenan?
I'm scheduled to work the more fair, but who wants to trade with me?
I'm sorry.
I said, I'll let guys go.
Well, I don't think that starts till 6.
No, that doesn't
Bye.
start.
Bye. You guys be in your booth by 5.
Good anytime.
That's what we want.
2:30?
I can be 2:30, yes, right.
Bobby, or 2:30?
2:30 on
2:30,
Friday.
Jay, 2:30, Scott?
I'm kidding,
Yep.
but the morning breaks the next day. I'm
More
just-
than parade's on Saturday.
Yeah.
I forgot about it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so, all right, so what time, guys?
Close up there more.
Supposed to at 10.
2:30 still work for
Supposed to, but
everyone?
Most people clear out by 9.
Okay.
So are we done?
So August the 8th at 2:30 in the afternoon. Debbie, how long do you think we need?
I have no idea.
Hour.
Set it for an hour and a half,
I will
2:30 to 4?
set it for 2 hours or 3.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Okay, so I'm just gonna circle back. So we now need to we need to roll back. I need a consensus to roll back the changes for the raises.
Just leave that, just don't do anything with the rate, right now, we not do nothing with the raises.
we
Then
just
I
leave
think
all
all
of
the
our-
other changes, and let's see where we're at, before we do raises, can we do that?
So doing the $400,000 to the, to,
Missed that.
yeah, $400,000 to the commissioner's budget for EMS.
Oh, no, I missed that.
Yes, $400,000 to the commissioner's budget for EMS.
Well, that balance is going down by the second.
By the second. Because what four offices were the ones that put it, is the assessor's office, the surveyor's office, treasurer's office, recorder's office, the surveyor,
Maybe I mean, we're just erasing.
That's not substantial.
well, that's 344 in the treasurer's office. The recorder's office is, no, that's the whole dollar figure. She left off the whole dollar figure. They left off the whole dollar figure. So that's 6.
Ones that did raises. They didn't raise it, so that's how they got left out.
Somebody makes a
8.
motion.
Motion to adjourn. I'll second.
So and like I said, I apologize, it's my fault, but I was.
Hey, Debbie, it is unrealistic for us to think that you can get everything done in a 24-hour period with everything that you have to do and then adding more onto it. So no need to apologize at all.